Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I call this meeting to order. We shall now continue our consideration of the agenda item 9 on policy issues for the Asia-Pacific region, the theme topic for the 74th session of the Commission on Inequality in the Era of 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Before we get our program underway, I would like to invite His Excellency, Dr. Mohammed Baga Nobakht Hagigi, Vice President of the Islamic Republic of Iran and Head of Plan and Budget Organization, to deliver his country's statement. Your Excellency.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. عالی جنابان، نمایندگان محترم دولت‌های عضو اسکاپ، رئیس محترم، معاون محترم دبیر کل ملل متحد و دبیر اجرایی اسکاپ، خانم‌ها و آقایان، مایلم در ابتدا عرایزم از دولت پادشاهی تایلند به عنوان میزبان اسکاپ و برگزار کنندگان این اجلاس، از دبیر محترم اجرایی اسکاپ تا کارشناسان دستاندرکار تشکر کنم. برای من و هیئت نمایندگی جمهوری اسلامی ایران شرکت در این اجلاس فرصتی ارزشمند برای تبادل ایده ها و نظرهاست. همچنین فرصت را غنیمت شمرده و ضمن محکوم نمودن وقایع تروریستی اخیر از طرف دولت جمهوری اسلامی ایران به دو دولت اندونزی و فلسطین مصیبت کشته شدن جمعی از اتباعشون در حوادث تروریستی 3 روز گذشته را تسلیت عرض می‌نمایم. عالی جنابان، در قرن حاضر همه دولت‌های ملی و نهادهای بین المللی در تلاش برای نیل به صلح از طریق ماندن در توافق‌های بین المللی و عمل به آنها بر اساس اصول بنیادین حقوق بین الملل هستند. چند جانب گرایی و تقویت سازوکارهای همکاری‌های چند جانبه از جمله اهدافی است که مبنای تشکیل سازمان ملل متحد گردید. هنجارها و رویه‌های موجود در نظام ملل متحد و نهادهای وابسته به آن همواره در راه بهبود روح همکاری‌های جمعی و فهم متقابل از منافع مشترک ملت‌ها اصلاح شدند. هیئت‌های محترم حاضر در این کمیسیون بسیار مهم منطقی اذعان دارند که متاسفانه برخی از کشورهای جهان خلاف رویه مزبور به صرف تغییر در مناسبات داخلی خود تعهدات قبلی خود را نادیده می‌گیرند. درک ما این است که این نوع اعمال می‌تواند پیام‌های نامناسبی به جامعه جهانی ارسال نماید و قبل از هر گونه آثار زیانبار اقتصادی و اجتماعی این رفتار می‌تواند اعتماد بین المللی را که منجر به بسیاری از تعهدات و قراردادها می‌شود را مورد آسیب جدی قرار دهد. مبنای دیپلماسی چند جانبه مبتنی بر توافق و تلاش برای احصای منافع همه ذی‌نفعان است. خارج شدن از یک پیمان زیست محیطی صرفاً بر محیط زیست یک کشور اثر ندارد، کما اینکه سایر توافقات بین المللی اثری سازنده و یا غیر سازنده برای تمامی اعضای ملل متحد دارد. رئیس محترم، نمایندگان گرامی، اطلاع یافتم که در نظرات ارائه شده در این کمیسیون اهمیت بسیار بالای چند جانبه گرایی در مقابل یک جانبه گرایی به طور کامل مورد بحث قرار گرفته است و از این بابت بسیار خرسندم که تأثیر نامطلوب گسترش یک جانبه گرایی بر توسعه پایدار به خوبی در خلال مباحثات دیروز نقد و تبیین شده است. به نظر می رسد چند جانبه گرایی که محصول خرد جمعی جامعه بین المللی است، موجب همافزایی و توزیع بیشتر توازن سود حاصل از رشد می شود. این در حالی است که روند جدید نادیده انگاری موجب فزاینده حمایتگرایی، تضعیف کننده قواعد و سوابق موجود چند جانبه گرایی از جمله نظام تجارت چند جانبه است. این روند مخاطره‌آمیز که به طور مشخص منطقه ما را تهدید می‌کند، میبایست از طریق افزایش آگاهی‌ها و همکاری نزدیک ما متوقف گردد. نابرابری و توسعه پایدار به عنوان محورهای اصلی مرتوجه این کمیسیون با توجه به روند رو به گسترش موصوف نیازمند امعان نظر و درک بهتر هست. عالی جنابان، شعار کمیسیون امسال مخالفت با هر گونه نابرابری است و بسیار مناسب است که همه هیئت‌های محترم حاضر در نظر داشته باشند که مبنای بسیاری از نابرابری‌ها در عرصه نظام بین الملل بی اخلاقی و رفتارهای خارج از هنجارهای مقبول بین المللی و عدم التزام به تعهدات پیشین است. فکر می‌کنم ما نمایندگان کشورهای منطقه در این کمیسیون پراهمیت منطقی بیش از سایرین به خوبی آگاهی داریم که برای مثال مسئولیت خدشه به یک پیمان مهم بین المللی همانند برجام که پایبندی جمهوری اسلامی ایران به آن 10 بار مورد تأیید و تأکید آژانس بین المللی انرژی اتمی قرار گرفته است، به عهده کیست؟ ما در این اجلاس گرد هم آمده ایم تا بار دیگر در تعامل و همفکری با یکدیگر با نگاهی بر چالش‌ها و فرصت‌های پیش رو با تکیه بر امکانات و ظرفیت‌های منطقه زمینه ساز زندگی بهتر برای ملت‌هایمان باشیم. از این رو لازم است راه‌های دستیابی منطقه به اهداف توسعه‌ای را بر مبنای ضروریات ملی خود احصا و در تدوین برنامه‌های توسعه ملی از آن بهره‌مند گردیم. برگزاری اجلاس سالانه کمیسیون در واقع تأکیدی بر ضرورت تعامل سازنده و مؤثر کشورهای عضو اسکاپ در سطوح ملی، منطقی و بین المللی است. این امر تأکیدی بر ضرورت سازگاری نظریه‌های توسعه با نیازهای منطقی است. از جمله چالش‌های اساسی در فعالیت‌های مربوط به توسعه زیرساخت‌های منطقه، عدم کفایت منابع مالی و ریسک بالای سرمایه‌گذاری است. دستیابی به اقتصادی متعادل با ثبات و پایدار با جایگاهی مشخص برای تسهیل مشارکت بخش خصوصی و دولتی در گرو انجام اصلاحات اساسی در ساختار اقتصادهای ملی و تقویت همکاری‌های منطقه‌ای با بکارگیری ابزارهای پولی و مالی کارآمد است. بر این اساس اکنون زمان آن فرا رسیده است که ضمن تأکید بر ابتکارات و راهکارهای توسعه جدید در جهت تقویت همگرایی منطقی و بین المللی بین کشورهای منطقه اسکاپ به گسترش همکاری‌های اقتصادی و تأسیس نهادهای مالی و پولی اقتصادی منطقه‌ای در راستای این همگرایی و یکپارچگی اقتصادی توجه بیشتری شود. عالی جنابان، در حال حاضر جمهوری اسلامی ایران به عنوان یک کشور متعهد به تعهدات بین المللی برنامه ششم توسعه خود را اجرا می‌کند. تقویت اقتصاد دانش محور با توسعه فناوری پیشرفته در موضوعات بسیار گسترده یکی از موضوعات کلیدی می باشد که در اجرای برنامه مورد نظر قرار گرفته است. ما بیمه سلامت را بدون وابستگی به پایگاه شغلی افراد که آن را طرح بیمه سلامت مینامیم برای عموم اجرا کرده، پوشش‌های بیمه‌های اجتماعی را برای افراد و گروه‌های کم درآمد گسترش دادیم. کمک‌های نقدی به خانوارهای فقیر، خصوصاً زنان سرپرست خانوار و معلول را چند برابر کرده و در حقوق و دستمزد تعادل برقرار کردیم تا کسی جا نماند. خانم‌ها و آقایان، همون گونه که مستحضرید منطقه آسیا و اقیانوسیه بلاخیزترین نقطه کره زمین می باشد. با عنایت به گزارش بلایای آسیا و اقیانوسیه برای سال 2017 منتشر شده توسط کمیسیون اجتماعی و اقتصادی سازمان ملل متحد برای آسیا و اقیانوسیه اسکاپ، مشخص گردید که در منطقه مزبور ریسک مخاطرات با آهنگ سریعتری نسبت به تاب‌آوری در حال گسترش می باشد. این مسئله به ویژه در مناطق کمتر توسعه یافته آسیا و اقیانوسیه، یعنی کشورهایی که ظرفیت پایینتری در خصوص مقابله با بلایای طبیعی برخوردار هستند، بیشتر نمود پیدا می کند. به عبارت دیگر، یک فرد در آسیا و اقیانوسیه 5 برابر فرد مشابه در سایر نقاط جهان در معرض خطر بلایای طبیعی است. از سال 1970 تا کنون بالغ بر 2 میلیون نفر در آسیا و اقیانوسیه به واسطه بلایای طبیعی جان خود را از دست دادند. این رقم معادل 57% کل تلفات انسانی ناشی از زلزله در جهان می باشد. به طور میانگین هر سال نزدیک به 43,000 نفر در منطقه به واسطه طیف وسیعی از بلایای طبیعی جان خود را از دست دادند. شایان ذکر است رقم تلفات از یک سال تا سال دیگر تفاوت چشمگیری داشته است. بلایا همچنان میزان گسترده‌ای از خسارات مادی را به همراه داشته است. در سالهای بین 1970 تا 2016 منطقه متحمل خساراتی بالغ بر 1.3 تریلیون دلار گردیده است. عمده بلایایی که موجب خسارات اشاره شده را فراهم نموده است شامل سیل، طوفان، خشکسالی، زلزله و سونامی ناشی از زلزله می باشند. نظر به افزایش میزان تولید ناخالص داخلی کشورها، میزان خسارت وارده به دارایی‌های فیزیکی هر ساله افزایش می‌یابد. شکاف اطلاعاتی و دانش پیرامونی، درک و آگاهی از مخاطرات، آسیب پذیری و قرار گرفتن در معرض خطر بلایا از جمله اصلی ترین چالش‌های فوق به علاوه طوفان‌های گرد و غبار و رعد و برق‌ها می باشد. رئیس محترم، نمایندگان گرامی، جمهوری اسلامی ایران به عنوان یکی از کشورهای به شدت در معرض خطر بلایای طبیعی از دهه‌های گذشته تدابیر جدی و گسترده‌ای به منظور تخفیف آسیب‌ها و آثار منفی بلایای طبیعی اتخاذ نموده است. در مقیاس ملی برنامه‌های پنجم ششم توسعه ملی ما تدابیر ساختاری نظیر ارتقاء استانداردهای ایمنی و تاب‌آوری مرتبط با زیرساخت و ساختمانسازی، مقاوم‌سازی و به روز رسانی سازه‌های آسیب‌پذیر و بالا بردن میزان آمادگی و تقویت ظرفیت به منظور مقابله مناسب با بلایای طبیعی را در خود گنجانده است. در یک حرکت تاریخی دولت جمهوری اسلامی ایران اقدام به تخصیص 2% از بودجه ملی سالانه به منظور کاهش مخاطرات بلایا و بالا بردن آمادگی مقابله با بلایا نموده است. برنامه ملی پیشروی ایمنی مدارس یکی از نمونه‌های فوق حاصل از اتخاذ تدابیر مزبور است. در مقیاس منطقی نظر به قطعنامه‌های 6711 7111 اسکاپ مصوب سالهای 2011 و 2015 جمهوری اسلامی ایران سخاوتمندانه ترین و با درک تعهد و احساس مسئولیت منطقی میزبان مقر مرکز آسیا و اقیانوسیه برای مدیریت اطلاعات بلایا اپتیم را بر عهده گرفته است. به علاوه در قالب کمک‌های داوطلبانه هزینه تأسیس مقر و برخی فعالیت‌های جاری و اداری اپتیم را تقبل نموده است. با عنایت به اینکه مرکز مزبور مناسب‌ترین بستر برای همکاری‌های منطقه‌ای جهت تقویت ظرفیت اطلاعات بلایا شناخته می‌شود، توافق مقر مرکز اپتیم در تاریخ 30 ژانویه 2018 میان اسکاپ و جمهوری اسلامی ایران به امضا رسید و مقرر گردید که این مرکز در سال جاری میلادی فعالیت رسمی خود را در ایران آغاز نماید. خانم‌ها و آقایان، جمهوری اسلامی ایران در راستای کاهش مخاطرات بلایا و ایجاد تاب‌آوری شامل ارتقاء سطح تأمین مالی و بسیج منابع مورد نیاز برای کاهش مخاطرات بلایا به گرمی از هر گونه همکاری و حمایت توسعه لازم از سوی دولت‌ها و سازمان‌های منطقه‌ای که به دستیابی اهداف تعریف شده برای مرکز اپتیم منجر می‌شود استقبال می‌نماید. در خاتمه، ضمن ابراز تأسف عمیق خود از پایان مأموریت خانم دکتر شمشاد اختر، معاون محترم دبیر کل سازمان ملل، مایلم مراتب قدردانی صمیمانه خود و دولت مطبوعم را نسبت به زحمات درخور تقدیر و همچنین همکاری صادقانه دبیر اجرایی محترم اسکاپ و نیز تیم تحت مدیریت ایشان در راستای مرکز اپتیم در تهران ابراز نمایم. به علاوه مایلم از تمامی کشورها و سازمانهای منطقه آسیا و اقیانوسیه که در تأسیس و عملیاتی سازی مرکز مزبور نقش سازنده ایفا نموده‌اند به گرمی تشکر نمایم. به امید روزی که نابرابری منجر به عدم تحقق حق مسلم همه ملت‌ها یعنی حق توسعه نشود. و السلام.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your statement. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, for our meeting this morning, we will discuss the potential opportunities and threats posed by frontier technologies and how they could spur inclusive and sustainable development. Possible policy measures and priority areas for regional frontier technology cooperation, which could support shared prosperity and address current and potential future inequalities, will be discussed. We will begin again with some introductory remarks by the Executive Secretary, followed by a few speakers to begin our deliberations, and then the floor will be opened for country statements. So I would now like to invite Executive Secretary to deliver some introductory remarks. Madam.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Excellencies and distinguished delegates, I have touched upon this topic both in my opening speech but also in the context of multilateralism session. And we decided to have a dedicated session on this topic given its future implications, but a lot is unfolding as we speak. The fourth industrial revolution, defined by technological breakthroughs such as artificial intelligence, robotics, 3D printing, the Internet of Things, fintech, big data, and quantum computing, is going to change the way we work, the way we live, and the way we conduct our businesses. Our challenge is to ensure these extraordinary technologies not only power productivity-led growth, but also helps us with our societies, businesses, and environment for the full range of benefits that can catalyze more action on 2030 agenda. Let me set out first the main challenges, and then I would like to touch upon the opportunities brought by the latest wave of tech innovation. So challenges first. By 2020, over half of the existing employment in the region could be automated. The nature of work will change rapidly. 65% of today's children will grow up to hold jobs that do not yet exist. This goes to the heart of the way we organize our economies. Globally, the shortage of high-skilled workers could exceed 40 million by 2020 as technological change outpaces educational attainment and achievement. Meanwhile, education in ICT is struggling to keep abreast of the pace of change. As the significance of frontier technologies increases, regrettably, a digital divide remains. Presently, as I mentioned earlier, 18 ESCAP countries have less than 2% subscriptions to fixed broadband services per 100 people. This unequal access will leave behind a large segment of population from enjoying the opportunities and benefits of frontier technology and complicate inequality further. As the digital activity grows and feeds big data, it will shape the way policy and commercial decisions are made. If the digital divide remains, we run the risk of overlooking the needs of those who are not digitally engaged. Frontier technologies also pose ethical issues. For instance, what rules should dictate the algorithms that decide how much we can borrow or what healthcare we receive? Balancing privacy and openness of data is a challenge. The data made available through the open and big data movements has combined with advancements in computing, machine learning, and behavioral economics to fuel the growth of artificial intelligence. Data trust between governments, private sector, and most of all, citizens is a real issue, but critical to address. Let me now touch upon the opportunities. Despite the challenges I talked about, and I haven't really covered everything there in interest of time, there are also a lot of opportunities. Frontier technologies are central, as I mentioned, to long-term growth because they would enhance productivity. The main hubs of Asia and the Pacific are fast innovating and producing frontier technologies. As I mentioned earlier, China is the biggest robot market in the world, and the Republic of Korea, Singapore, and Japan are also big players. Technology and innovation are revolutionizing production processes. The Internet of Things not only increases overall productivity, but also enables more intelligent, greater production, and smarter cities and infrastructure. Embedding the Internet of Things into China's manufacturing sector alone, according to some estimates, could add over $700 billion to China's GDP by 2030. I believe this is an underestimate. Frontier technologies have the potential to make a major contribution to achieving the SDGs. With the right legislative frameworks, frontier technologies could support the delivery of essential healthcare, education, and education services. They could help detect cancer, improve transport logistics to reduce carbon emissions, identify crop diseases, and deliver early warnings of natural disaster, to name a few benefits. Let me give you a few examples of work already underway. In the Republic of Korea, the entire smart city of Songdo is built around the Internet of Things. Smart cities reduces traffic pollution, save energy and water, and create a cleaner environment. Thailand has been implementing a digital economy and society development plan. Bangladesh is implementing its Vision 2021 and Digital Bangladesh action plan to transform the country into a developing middle-income country by 2021. Malaysia, Philippines, and Vietnam have been implementing digital technologies. There are many other things going on. Moreover, the value of data and information continues to grow, and globally collected data is being made freely available to the public. The Indian Space Research Organization, GeoPortal, now provides data sets for other countries in South Asia. Digital data is doubling in size every 2 years, and it is expected to reach 44 trillion gigabytes by 2020. Real-time data analysis supported by machine learning should increase the precision of policy responses. Rather than consult the doctors, we will be consulting the likes of Watson. Let me talk about the policy response. Governments in the region are leading globally on the policy response to frontier technologies. In 2017, China published a comprehensive artificial intelligence development policy with the overarching goal to make the country the front runner of Global Innovation Center in Artificial Intelligence by 2030. The Republic of Korea has developed the world's first robot tax. Japan has proposed establishing an international set of basic rules for developing artificial intelligence and devised Japan's robot strategy, recognizing the need for robust regulatory reform. And the government of Singapore now offers adult personal accounts which they can use to buy training, and tax incentives to encourage firms to invest more in their lower paid workers. I don't know whether you saw on the Twitter how Singapore trucks through the niche of these guys who come with the tongs, which is basically the artificial intelligence and the robotic together, are collecting waste from the sidelines of the streets. These are just some of the policies that have been put in place to maximize the positive, while minimizing the negative impacts of frontier technologies. To conclude, to me, bridging the digital divide is an urgent development challenge for ESCAP countries with special needs. Promoting regional cooperation to enhance broadband connectivity through initiatives such as the Asia-Pacific Information Superhighway should be a priority for investment and policy intervention. That is why I have been advocating regional economic cooperation and integration for the benefit of the development of the people. ESCAP has focused on research and analysis, capacity building, and fostering regional knowledge sharing on frontier technologies. I think you can be proud of your secretariat. Reports have been published on artificial intelligence, digital and virtual currency, and big data, to name few. Through ESCAP's Regional Space Applications Program for Sustainable Development and related regional drought mechanism, ESCAP provides a regional cooperative platform that facilitates low-capacity countries that do not have their own space technology infrastructure to enhance their institutional capacities in space applications with the kind generosity of the space application providers across our countries. Since 2017, ESCAP provided around 220 satellite imagery and tailored tools and products to its member states for early warning, response, and damage assessment of earthquakes, floods, drought, typhoons, cyclones, and landslides. And we heard the Vice President of Islamic Republic of Iran about how they have helped ESCAP develop what is a regional EPTIM. It is for the benefit of the whole of Asia-Pacific region to help us through, at least initially, the sand and dust storms that are creating a lot of complications for Southwest and South Asia. These are just very few examples, but there are many more that are emanating from our regional economic cooperation and integration platform, and these will be unfolded further on how we integrate frontier technologies in our endeavors for prosperity of our region. I'm very proud to report to you that gathered here are some experts in this field from the public and private sectors and academia. So I look forward to hearing them and their views on all these areas so we can take charge of this new innovative platform for years to come. So thank you for being here, and thank you to all our member states. Over to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Executive Secretary. We now have a series of 6 speakers, and I would like to invite the first speaker to the podium, Mr. Steve Leonard, the founding Chief Executive Officer of SG Innovate, to deliver his remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity to be a part of this today. So, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to speak about a couple of things today, and I'm going to try and interrelate those 3 topics. Essentially, I'm going to speak about blockchain, but briefly. I'm going to speak about entrepreneurship, because I think it's such an important economic engine for the future. And I'm going to speak briefly about SG Innovate, which is the team that I have built and have now the privilege to lead. And we try and live simultaneously in 2 universes. We try to be of government, and we try to be of the commercial sector at both times. And so I think that might be something useful for your consideration. So I would like to also thank Madam Chair and Madam Executive Secretary for allowing me this opportunity, especially Executive Secretary's very helpful summary of both the opportunities and challenges relating to technology. My remarks will be more about what we see happening briefly as opposed to the technology itself. So as I'm sure everyone in the room is aware, this thing called blockchain is a new wave. It's not so much a frontier technology, but the use of it is impactful. And we think about it especially because central entities have always been those holders of information and trust. Things that relate to education and health and public safety are all through central entities, almost always through government. But that's changing, and this foundation of trust upon which a government-citizen relationship is built is also something which continues to evolve. We think about centralization of data, and it brings with it inevitably some risk. There's always, when you put something in one place, a risk that now it's more easily attacked, if I can use that expression. If you put all the gold bars in one place, then people know where the gold bars are if they wish to try and attempt to steal them. Same for information. So one of the great things about the blockchain is it's distributed. When we think about the idea of integrity of information and we think about the fact that it's going to be trustworthy, it's because there is no one person, no one entity that can change that information. Today, if information is changed in a central spot, it becomes the source of new truth. If it was X and now it's Y, then everybody that relies upon that central authority for information believes the information to be Y going into the future. These are 2 core issues that the blockchain seeks to address. So we think that blockchain plays an important role. But where I'd like to now spend time is not so much on the technology, but more about the fact that we are believers that entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship have always been and will always be a vital economic engine for the future. Creating economies, creating opportunities. Those companies that are big companies today almost always were the hopes and dreams of individuals that were entrepreneurs some years or some decades ago. And now what we want to think about is what's the role of entrepreneurship as it relates to blockchain, especially in the context of some of the sustainable development goals. And I'd like to bring to your attention 2 examples. There are hundreds or thousands. These are 2 that I've selected simply because I like the narrative that goes with them. So there's a team, Kawalimai. It's seeking to bring food safety and integrity to many markets, starting in China. It's using a well-known technology, RFID, but it's something which allows a producer to say, this was my product, I started it here, it's now gone there, and ultimately it's something that you're purchasing. The end consumer can have confidence that this is a technology that they intended to buy or a food that they intended to buy, and that low-cost, simple technology can increase the confidence in consumers. It's founded by Russian entrepreneurs. They did an initial coin offering in Singapore, and they're deploying in China. I share that because I love the example, again, of entrepreneurship being an entity that brings countries together, that brings people together. So this is a blockchain-related technology focused on food safety. Target 2.1 would be something that's very specifically addressed by this type of technology. Then we think of proof of identity. And we think about the reality that there are many, many hundreds of millions of people, over 1 billion people, without a registered digital identity or an identity of any sort. What are the implications of that? Healthcare, education, being able to move across borders, safety. And so this affects especially children, especially in certain markets. And so we like the fact that this is an area that we believe new technology can bring an important impact. And what I'd like to do is explore one brief case study. First, when we know that roughly 95% of kids around the world have a vaccination, and that's many multiples of the fact that children in many markets don't have any identity. One country has a 2% registration at birth, but a 91% vaccination rate for initial vaccine. Now, when we think of the fact that 91% of the children are vaccinated, there's a moment of intervention, but only 2% go on to have a registration. If we can make a material impact of that, then it helps with further vaccination, education, social services, and all of the things that we think are so important. And of course, we think that this is a great example of target 16.9, when everybody having a digital identity is so vital for so many other things. And so what I'd like to do is bring to your attention one entity trying to use this technology I started with, which is the blockchain. It's called AidTech. It also has received some awards from the United Nations. And what they seek to do is to improve the transparency between donors and recipients. And so when someone makes a donation in country X, targeted for country Z, how do they know through many different intermediaries it's received by the right parties and is dispersed and is used in the right ways? This type of technology, blockchain technology, allows that transparency, that immutability, that unchangeability that gives both donors and governments confidence. So AidTech is a specific startup. They are young, they are trying to grow, but they're working on such an important problem, and their first group of people that they're trying to work with are Syrian refugees. In the spirit of disclosure, my team and I have made an investment in that team. We're believers both in their mission and in their technology. But there are other teams that are doing something similar like this, and I bring this to your attention as a way of using technology to tackle intractable or currently intractable problems such as digital identity. Now, what is the role of my team, and why do we live in these two universes of government and private sector simultaneously? We have what we call a deep tech nexus strategy. And without going through each circle in detail, what I'd like to bring to your consideration is we were founded roughly 1.5 years ago. I used to lead the Singapore Government Technology Agency. Although being a foreigner, Singapore government allowed me the opportunity to lead the agency. And so what we tried to do at the end of that term, when I was taking a new challenge, was imagine the role of entrepreneurs in helping bring research and science and education into which Singapore government pours billions of dollars, and to bring that to some commercial applicability. So what we did is set up this organization. We focus on talent development for individuals, skills around machine learning and digital capabilities. We focus on aggregating them into communities of like-minded individuals, interested in medtech, interested in blockchain, interested in autonomous vehicles, and so on. We then link those networks to other networks. We link universities to other universities outside of Singapore. We link these communities of entrepreneurs and investors to other like-minded communities in other countries, and we work with many different countries around the world. Then we think about investing. We put equity into them. We have our own investment fund. We invest equity into these startups to give them time to grow enough to attract the venture capital community's interest. Normally, these are such early-stage deep tech companies. computer vision in healthcare? How do we think about nanosatellites and improving communication to remote regions? So these are not things for Singapore. They're things built on research in Singapore, but for markets that we hope will be global in nature. Company building, we work with customers, we work with talent acquisition. What can we do to serve that founder every day that he or she is trying to build a company? And finally, physical spaces. We're believers that as much as networks are great, bringing people together in one place is also impactful and important. We have roughly 3,500 square meters in Singapore in which we bring people together. We have 2 deep tech events each week in which we have someone of an international stature who's either traveling through Singapore or based in Singapore speak about a topic. The former chair of computer science talking about artificial intelligence, a head of research for genome sequencing speaking about the future of personal medicine. And we do that purely so that interested men and women in Singapore can expand their thinking, can stretch their imagination, and can imagine what might be possible if they work together with each other. That's part of what we do. We can focus on many things. We choose to focus on 3 most deeply for the reasons that I believe are apparent. We think all things will be affected by this area called artificial intelligence systems. We think that the blockchain has great social implication. We're not thinking of it from a company perspective. We're thinking of it more from a social perspective. Corporations will build their own blockchains. We're most especially interested in identity and helping outside of Singapore. And finally, medtech. We think it's inevitable that with an aging population and a shortage in the right places at the right time of the right caregivers, that we need to be thinking about medtech. And we want to think about it also in a cost-effective way. We're looking at how to combine artificial intelligence and certain types of robotics to bring tools that would be appropriate in less developed markets. And so that's part of our goal. We work with scientists, most especially those that have decided not to pursue an academic career, but to bring their research to reality. We do this through an extensive network, and what we've learned along the way is that there is a great pent-up demand. And what I would say for each of the countries that you lead and represent, our basic premise was Singapore has education, has investment in research, has corporations that are there, but we were not bringing it together powerfully. We were not bringing it together impactfully. And so our premise was, let's see if we can play that role of an aggregator. We are not the creators of the science. We are not the creators of the corporate infrastructure. All we tried to do was to unlock the potential we believed to be there. And what I would offer as a perspective is I was in Istanbul 2 weeks ago at an entrepreneurship congress, meeting young men and women from Rwanda and Algeria and Jordan and many other exciting countries. And each of them had ideas and energy and potential. So there's nothing about Singapore that makes this specific to Singapore. We have certain things that we are trying to work with. We also have certain limitations. We are not a big market. We are not a place where people would come to naturally build something for a domestic market in the way that a market can be made in India or China just by virtue of its sheer size, even though those entrepreneurs have also global ambitions. Singapore does not represent that. But we know that there's potential. And my philosophy is that every country has potential. And if we can offer some feedback on our experiment of trying to live in both the government and non-government universe, that would be my offer today. We're a private limited company, fully funded by Singapore government. That's how we try and operate in 2 universes. I report into government. I don't work for government. I'm not a civil servant. I've always been in the technology industry. So everything we do is a hybrid and an experiment. Some things will go right, some things will not work out right. But what I would commend to you for consideration is there is great potential. Our basic hope was if we tried to unlock it, we would make some small progress. We're encouraged by the fact that 29 companies have been formed in the 1.5 years that we've been around, and we believe that we'll have many more along the way, and I believe that you can too. Thank you very much for the opportunity to share these thoughts.
Thank you, Mr. Leonard, for your insightful remarks. I would now like to invite to the podium Mr. Arvind Gupta, the Chief Executive Officer of MyGov India, to deliver his remarks.
Good morning. Good morning, and thank you, Madam Chair, Madam Executive Secretary, and delegates to the Commission. It's very interesting that I follow after Steve because he left a thought about identity and that blockchain enables identity. What I'm going to talk is a lot about how India, as an example, has used identity as a platform to transform the way it's going into the future. So just to give you a brief perspective, I come as an entrepreneur for 25 years who has been an academic as a professor teaching in various universities, but now running a startup inside the government. So it's an exciting fusion of experience, and I think that defines how we at India are looking at frontier technologies. I go back to the year 2010. India, a country of 1.3 billion people, out of which 400 million people had no single form of identity. Hardly 100 million connected to the internet at that point in time. 300 million people out of the 1.3 billion people had not one, but multiple form of identity. So there was no one conclusive form of identity for them. Most of these identities are paper-based, like a driver's license or a passport or something akin to that, a tax identity. That meant that we were leaving out over 30 to 40% of the population from banking, from welfare, health, and just about access to anything that can empower them going into the future. So what did we do? In 2010, we launched one of the world's biggest identity platforms called Aadhaar. And this platform today connects the 1.2 billion people. In a matter of less than 7 years, Madam Chair, we have connected 1.2 billion people to our identity platform. And it must be noted that this platform has been built for people who are digitally connected or digital natives versus, and also to people who are digitally not connected. So it can work both, for example, on a smartphone and a non-smartphone, a candy bar phone, as I call it. What we have also done is we have built this technology at scale and at a cost that is applicable to India. So to give you a perspective, the identity platform, which I'll talk a little bit more about, has been built at a rough cost of $1.5 billion for 1.2 billion people. So that's why it's a frugal innovation at scale. I always believe if India can do it, any other country can do it. It's 1.3 billion people. And also, it is built on native open source technology. So it's the guiding principle of this innovation is open innovation. We are not using any proprietary technology, and the frameworks and the policies are absolutely open. What does this technology entail, and what does it solve? As I said, we have a digital identity platform today. It's just not a technology. Today, it's a platform to deliver banking, health, skills, and I'll explain how, welfare, which is basically food subsidies, mobility, KYC, which is a basic norm for all banking, for all insurance, for microfinance, for connectivity, which is telecom, and of course, receiving benefits and welfare from the state. This is a platform which is not only being used by the government, but an open platform which government is one participant, businesses are second participant, and society at large is the third participant. So it's completely open, accessible, and a lot of entrepreneurship is being built on top of it. What does this platform entail? This platform has 3 different components, all, as I said, developed locally in India. It's got the base identity layer. It is the base connectivity, providing an identity to every individual of India. Today, 99% of adult population in India is connected to this identity platform. It's got a paperless layer, and I'll explain why that is important. And it's got a payments layer. India has also built in this trinity of what I call the Aadhaar stack, its own payment system. And this is very revolutionary because it connects 2 bank accounts in real time at 0 cost. So payments can be made from a government to a citizen, from a citizen to a citizen to a business or a merchant at absolutely in real time at 0 cost. This is what we call the Aadhaar stack. The first application of this technology came in when India, in 2014, decided to ensure that 42% of Indians at the family, at the household level, who didn't have access to banking, for them to get access to banking. And the Prime Minister actually launched a program which called the Jan Dhan, which is basically 0 balance bank accounts. Everybody in India will have access to banking at 0 cost, 0 balance accounts. And it was made possible through the use of this digital identity platform because it's very high tech but low touch. So the cost of maintaining these bank accounts, the cost of servicing this banking was reduced substantially. The cost of making payments was reduced substantially. By launching this scheme, guess what happened? Today, over 310 million individuals have a bank account. The biggest financial inclusion in the history of mankind, just achieved in under 1 year, 2014 to 15. It's an ongoing process, but a biggest financial inclusion, 220 million of these accounts were opened in less than 1 year. Today, it takes less than a minute in India to open a new bank account. 56 seconds is the record time. It has been enabled, again, by use of technology which is enabling empowerment of the last mile, of the last citizen of India. Second, what did we do with payments? One of the biggest cost components in banking is KYC, and also how do you make payments. So let me first talk about KYC. KYC stands for Know Your Customer. It's a norm, international norm, to ensure that you're giving bank accounts to people where you know their whereabouts. If you don't have identity, you can't get a bank account. The cost of a paper-based identity system and to digitize it is very high. What India did is completely digitize this process. Now, using your digital identity through a mobile device, you can get, and you can get your bank account or your insurance or your microcredit in 56 seconds, as I explained. But to enable your identity to be locked and to be interoperable and to be available at all points in time, we made a paperless layer called a DigiLocker, which is connected to your identity system. So to access this, all you need is your digital identity. And to explain what a digital identity in India is, it is your 10 fingerprints, your 2 iris scans. Because instead of you losing your passwords or your numbers or your cards every year, we basically made the system around who you are, not what you have or what you know. So the basic form of identity of who you are is your identity system. So you come, you certify yourself using your iris or your thumbprint, and you can get access to all your documents that you have shared on the DigiLocker. Now what this enabled is banking. As I explained, banking to almost every Indian. Today at 99% household level, we have access to a bank account. And one of the biggest cost of banking has been the cost of interchange, the cost of transactions between a bank account X and a bank account Y. And to solve that problem, we created this payment system, a native payment system called the Unified Payments Interface. Every bank in India today is connected to this payment system. And it's brought down the cost of payments to virtually zero. So you can transfer money from an account X to Y to a merchant A to B at almost zero cost. There is absolutely zero cost, a rent seeking that happens, and it's like sending an email. And actually it is. We have created a bank account which is like an email address. My phone number or my identity number at the rate of bank account is now today a payment address. So if I have to send a payment to anybody else, I just give their mobile number at the rate bank account and it goes. Very, very similar to email. And guess what happened in the digital transformation of the country? 2 years ago, of course, aided by certain policies led by our government to ensure that we move towards more banking, more digital technologies and a digital economy. In September 2017, where we were doing a few million transactions, we moved to 190 transactions in April, from 30 million in April 2017 to March 18, 180 million, and April 18 to 190 million transactions, six-fold increase in a matter of 6 months. That's been the growth of this homegrown payment system linked to an identity, linked to a paperless layer. Why was this important? This was important because government, let's first take the first use case of the government. As I told you, it was built an approximate investment of $1.5 billion. But the first user of this technology, the three technologies, the stack working together, was the government itself. The government gives out benefits, both federal and state. We codified most of the government schemes so that people who are duplicate, non-existent, fake, all go out of the system because of a conclusive identity. That was the use of a conclusive identity. Today, 435 schemes of the government are codified into the system. 636 million beneficiaries. This is the scale of it. $31 billion over the 2.5 years have been transferred. But guess what has been the most important thing in it, which is really important for economy, is the $12 billion of savings that have been achieved over 2.5 years. For the mathematicians and the investment bankers in us, that's over an 8x return over the $1.5 billion invested to create this technology, apart from the social benefits. So the government has built this platform, saved a lot of money, which was earlier getting lost in leakages, by doing a couple of things, by making sure the right beneficiaries are getting the money, but the fakes and duplicates are out, and of course, the money goes directly into the bank accounts. So it's all interlinked today. 2, social benefits. Okay. I may need help to. No, I fixed it. Thank you. Sorry. The second area of big impact has been society. Pensions, a second use case. All over the world, pensioners need to give, especially talking about India, is something called a proof of life. You had to walk into a government office at the age of 80 to give a proof of life that you can avail your pension every 6 to 12 months. Today, because it's linked to your biometrics, you can do it from the convenience of your home. Pensions, and the money comes directly into your bank account. More than 16.8 million pensioners have registered for this scheme, which is being run. It's a great social benefit. It's had very, very big implications, and that's just another use case. I'm bringing about 3 use cases, one from the government, which I explained, which is called the direct benefits transfer, one from society, and 3 I'll give from business. Because of this, the biggest telecom revolution, a new entrant in the telecom industry, used this platform to launch its mobile-first enrollment. No paper, completely paperless. A new telecom service could do that, and it added 108 million consumers in 170 days flat, faster than a Facebook or a Google in terms of customer enrollment. And because you could do KYC, the e-KYC, in less than a minute, enroll yourself right on the spot. Now, why is this important? Why is this important is because this is changing the goals, the way we are rolling out in India schemes at scale and at very, very low cost. In this year's fiscal budget, the Indian government decided to launch a scheme which is healthcare for all, called Ayushman Bharat. It's going to have 100 million families eventually enrolled into it. Guess what platform is going to be used? The Aadhaar stack, because to do certain things at scale where the platform is already available, this is a natural choice. 2, access to credit. Today, as Steve was mentioning, and Madam Secretary General was saying, value of data is becoming very high. Till yesterday, a small business owner, a small trader, a small farmer could not get credit because he or she did not have access to their own data. They didn't create a data footprint, a digital footprint. Today, because of access to banking, they have a verifiable proof of what data they have, what transactions they do, what is their monthly income, whether they pay taxes or not. And using that data, they can get access to credit. It's already been put to use. Of course, remittances. The other experience we had with the banking was women. Almost 2/3 of women were the first people to sign up for these zero balance bank accounts. And it was a great sign of empowerment for them because they could certainly have a bank account, savings, and independence that they could not have before. So those have been our lessons. This whole platform, natively developed, is solving key problems, of course, of identity, of money, of skills. Today, the DigiLocker that I explained, the paperless layer, certifies document at source. Once they're certified and authenticated and put in the locker, it's certified for life. So with the combination of all of this, skills, money, identity is all becoming cross-state, cross-border, and citizens finally have control over their data, over their identity, and whatever else. The last thought I have on frontier technologies, once you have a base layer and once you have an identity which is now across all over India, 1.2 billion people, we believe that this will have, using artificial intelligence and blockchain, unlimited applications and disruptions in customized learning, in health, in judicial processes, in agriculture. But one very interesting thing that we are using it for in India, especially the blockchain technology, is land titles. And giving poor people access to their land and their land titling is going to be a big empowerment from bottom up. So it's a start of a journey in India. We created a platform. We have people on it. We have people using it. It's an ongoing process. And the next steps we are looking at is, of course, artificial intelligence and blockchain to solve problems that matter, solve problems of society, and improve the quality of life. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gupta, for sharing your valuable perspectives. I'd now like to invite to the podium Her Excellency, Ms. Rosemary G. Edilin, the Undersecretary, National Economic and Development Authority of the Philippines.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, Excellencies, Madam Executive Secretary, distinguished delegates. First, I would like to thank Dr. Shamshad Akhtar and the ESCAP Secretariat for giving me the opportunity to present the Philippines' insights into this matter of technological frontier and inclusive development. As you know, the Philippines is a developing country, and so it's really a privilege to be talking about this subject matter. Of course, I come to you from the perspective of a policymaker, not as a technocrat as the previous speakers. So may I begin by presenting my key messages. First, technology is neutral. And second, policy actions matter, borrowing the phrase from Professor Thomas Pogg of the Day One. In fact, policies determine the bias in which technology will be developed, whether this will address or worsen inequality. In our country statement, I presented to you the long-term vision of our country. And this is actually based on the collective aspirations of Filipinos, what we want to be, what we want to do, and what we want to have. We have actually summarized these aspirations into 3 themes. First is to enjoy strongly bonded relationships, a comfortable lifestyle, and a secure future. It is easy to see how technology can be used to attain these aspirations. Technology can make work more efficient, allowing Filipinos to spend more time with family and friends. So that's the first theme. Technology can make more visible the option of working from home. How I wish we can do that. Technology can definitely make for a more comfortable lifestyle. Household chores can be made easier. Innovations in housing can make it more affordable and durable. Innovations in transport can make travel easier, more accessible, and affordable. Technology can also promote financial inclusion, thereby helping make the future more secure. Innovations can definitely prolong life expectancy and productive years. Furthermore, without technological innovation, it will be more difficult for the average Filipino to attain his or her aspiration, let alone the poorest Filipino. We estimate that we will need to triple our per capita income in 25 years in order to attain this aspiration, what we call the ambition natin 2040. Therefore, we need goods and services to be more affordable. And we have identified the sectors that need to be innovative, meaning that they're able to produce quality goods and services at affordable prices in order to make the long-term vision more attainable. This range from housing and construction-related manufacturers, including the manufacture of fixtures and furnitures, medical, health and allied services, transport, tourism and allied services, education, and even for agriculture, we have identified agricultural biotechnology as the main strategy. For the current Philippine Development Plan, it is about laying down the foundation for inclusive growth, a high trust and resilient society, and a globally competitive knowledge economy. And the development and use of technology is a key strategy to meet the targets that we have set out in the PDP. And this is the strategic framework of the Philippine Development Plan. Before proceeding, I would like to emphasize that we have mainstream, I would like to demonstrate that we have mainstream the Agenda 2030 in our PDP. In particular, there's the overlay. Now, allow me to expound a bit more on the PDP, but with respect to how we intend to use technology to achieve the targets that we have set out in the medium term. We have actually adopted the model of a smart city from the smart cities in Europe, where they identified 6 dimensions. So smarter Philippines actually means a smarter government, people, economy, mobility, environment, and smarter living. The first pillar of the PDP is about building a high-trust society. And as a start, people should be trusting public institutions more. And so we intend to have a smarter government, more automated transactions to make it efficient and transparent. We also plan to establish a national ID system. We are learning from the India experience, hopefully towards the end of the year. We will prioritize the poorest of the poor and the elderly, and then cover the rest of the residents and even those living abroad, Filipinos living abroad. This will radically transform the way government delivers services as we see it happening in India, including cash transfers. And at the same time, it provides every Filipino a legal proof of identity. The third pillar of the PDP is about ensuring that we expand our capacity for faster growth. And this begins with having smarter people, more innovative people. We are investing heavily in human capital, and as I have reported before, in addition to free primary and secondary education, we are providing free tertiary education in our state universities and colleges. And to prepare our youth for Industry 4.0, we have opened up teaching in higher level skills to foreign professionals. I should also remind you that our conditional cash transfer covers the poorest of the poor. So this ensures that the children in poor families are able to attend and finish primary and secondary education, and then now, with free tertiary education, they too will be prepared for Industry 4.0. The second pillar of our PDP is about inequality reducing transformation, and we are also using technology to equip the small farmers and our MSMEs. We are working with the International Rice Research Institute to promote the use of what is called the Rice Crop Manager. I think there are 5 countries involved here. This is a web-based decision tool that gives recommendations on the right type, amount, and timing of fertilizer application, including water management and so on. We have also uploaded on our website a color-coded agricultural map that shows the crops that's suitable in a given area with consideration for topography, average climate, and soil conditions. This will be further enhanced to mimic the RCM. We are also making great strides with respect to e-commerce to enable our MSMEs to compete even without having a big store establishment. Moreover, we have been installing free Wi-Fi hotspots across the country and, of course, prioritizing the schools and the municipal centers. We're also introducing reforms in our regulatory framework to enable more competition in the telecommunications sectors so that the service becomes more efficient, accessible, and affordable. Last year, our President has approved the National Transport Plan, and this prioritizes mobility of people rather than of vehicles. For this reason, we will be putting in place more smart features aided by technology for our transport and traffic management systems. We have also invested heavily in making our communities more resilient. We are aware that natural hazards impose differential impact on different sectors, and the best strategy is really to be better prepared. In the aspect of technology, we have finished the geohazard maps using LiDAR technology and having a higher resolution, prioritizing the hazard-prone areas, which are actually the poorest areas as well in the country. We have already launched a microsatellite in space a couple of years back, and we intend to launch another one pretty soon. And this has really aided us in weather forecasting and disaster preparedness. But of course, we continue to rely on international cooperation to assist us in this, and the UN agencies have been particularly helpful in this regard. Furthermore, realizing that almost all Filipinos have at least one mobile phone, we have engaged with our telcos to help disseminate critical weather information. In many urban centers, we have installed CCTVs to help in our disaster and emergency response. All this and more with the aid of technology will help us enjoy a comfortable living as envisioned by every Filipino. To conclude, let me iterate with what I have stated at the outset. Technology is neutral, and how it develops is a matter of policy and policy actions. For instance, in the country, white goods sold in the country are mandated to carry a label on its EER, or Energy Efficiency Ratio, to inform customers about energy consumption of that particular appliance. A question that comes to mind is technology that originates across the border. Again, this is where policy and regulation become important, and where some form of international norms can be explored. We need a regulatory framework on cybersecurity and so on. Even for our national ID, we require an enabling law to define the parameters to ensure that our fundamental right to privacy is observed. To be sure, regulations we cannot cover the future evolution of technology, and therefore policy researchers and policy makers will need to keep abreast and stand ready to modernize regulations as necessary. We need also to democratize access to technology. At the very least, users should be trained on how, they should be equipped on how to use this. But yes, technology can be an instrument to reduce inequality and therefore live the kind of life we want. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your presentation. I would now like to invite to the podium His Excellency Mr. Bambang Brojdonegoro, the Minister of National Development Planning of Indonesia, to share some of the perspectives on this subject.
Madam Chair, Executive Secretary of ESCAP, Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. After the three previous speakers, let me continue with how to accommodate the frontier technology into development issues. We have listened to the case of India and Philippines, and now I'm trying to put the context for Indonesia. When we are talking about the frontier of technology, maybe we can summarize all the advancement into Industrial Revolution 4.0. Now everybody's talking about how each of our country could respond to the Industrial Revolution 4.0. How can we participate inside the revolution itself, and how to avoid our country to become the victim of the Industrial Revolution 4.0. And of course, first we identify what kind of important areas inside the Revolution 4.0. There are several things, but I would like to put some emphasis, as mentioned by the previous speakers, like Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, big data, robotics, 3D printing, nanotech, and biotech. And in fact, there will be about 40 key emerging technologies for the future, categorized into 4 big groups: digital, biotech, advanced materials, energy, and environment. If you look at these 4, of course, each one of them will be critical part of our development progress in the future. And to answer the first question, how can the frontier technology support the SDG? I think the previous speakers already mentioned the benefit of frontier technology to the SDGs. And maybe I just compliment what they have presented. Certainly for developing economies like Indonesia, we still need much advanced technology in order to reduce the poverty. We are trying now to move from subsidizing price into well-targeted support for the poorest family. And to identify for the accuracy of the distribution itself, we need the latest advancement of the frontier technology, like artificial intelligence, for example. We want to make sure the budget from government will be well distributed to the poorest family. And for goal number 3, health, of course, we know that there has been a lot of advancement in the frontier technology to cure some chronic disease like cancer. And then for goal number 8, I think this will be one of the main topic for this event. At one side, we are worried about automation, because automation will certainly replace the jobs. But we also need to explore whether the frontier technology will lead to creation of new unimagined jobs, or basically new jobs. And sometimes we forget that technology cannot be detached from the people or from the society. For goal number 7 and 11, regarding energy and the cities, of course, the global trend is urbanization. Indonesia itself now has 52% of our population living in urban area. So urbanization trend will become even bigger. And to deal with urbanization, we need to focus on smart cities. And smart cities will need the support of the frontier of technology. For example, Internet of Things. Similar with the issue of energy, renewable energy, that will need the progress of the technology itself. Now, what is the advantage of frontier technology? When we are talking about current global economic condition, we know the keyword to win in the global economy is competition. Each country has to improve its competitiveness. When you are talking about competitiveness, if you look at your microeconomic textbook, then the keyword is productivity. Let's take the the simplest form of productivity, labor productivity. Sometimes for emerging economies, it's hard to compete with advanced economies because our labor productivity is below those countries. But then, with the existence of frontier technology, this is actually an opportunity to enhance our productivity. How to increase labor productivity in a significant way, and how can these developing economies catching up with the developed economies. So frontier technology actually has the benefit. But at the same time, of course, there are threats. And one of the threats, of course, automation. The threat related to the loss of jobs. And the other issue, like the big topic of the session in ESCAP, is about inequality. There is a threat that frontier technology will lead to higher inequality because the benefit will not be equal. People have better access, people with, of course, better wealth might have higher benefit from the frontier technology compared to the rest of the citizens of the country. And then, of course, inappropriate approach in frontier technology can lead to social conflicts. In Indonesia, we had experience when suddenly the apps on taxi, like Uber, like Grab, becoming a trend in Jakarta, the capital of Indonesia. There was, at one period, kind of quite, I think, social conflict between the traditional taxi drivers and this apps taxi. Of course, the customers sometimes prefer the apps because it's easier to access, and sometimes the price is more competitive. While the traditional feels that they have to follow all the regulation about the taxi, and sometimes they cannot compete with the price, and they are at disadvantage in terms of getting the customers. So the conflict is there, and government has, at that time, is quite struggling to manage the conflict. Now we have settled the issue, but I just want to raise the issue that if we use the frontier technology inappropriately, then the social conflict is imminent. And then, of course, regulation is important. If we are behind in terms of regulation, then it will create the moral hazard. The case of taxi in Jakarta, I think, is quite a good case, because at that time, government, to be honest, doesn't have idea how to create the regulation about the taxi that will ensure both the apps and the traditional taxi companies will have the same level of playing field. I think that will be a tough job for any decision maker everywhere in the world. But we have to face it, because this kind of frontier technology is already in our soil. We cannot avoid that. So the government, rather than just being a conventional regulator, now government has to become smart regulator. They have to really find out what will be the good platform for both the apps or the frontier technology approach and the traditional approach, because we still need both of them. I mean, the traditional ones, at least there are still many people depending on the jobs from the traditional sector. And then, of course, low innovation capacity country will become the consumer of frontier technology. So I think the session today is very good, because it can create the awareness. If the frontier technology is there, we cannot just consume. I mean, as a country, we cannot just consume the existing frontier technology, but instead, we need to be participative. We need to be an active part of the frontier technology itself. The next question, at least in the Indonesia case, are we ready to be part of the frontier technology? To be honest, we are not yet ready, simply because the science and technology historically has not been the main driver of our economic growth. If we look at our economic growth in 1990s, when we are part of the so-called emerging Asia, and then the newly industrialized country in Asia, our manufacturing at that time mostly is labor-intensive manufacturing. When we had relatively high economic growth during the period of 2010-2013, it will be more of natural resources. So science and technology never been kind of the mainstream of our economic growth. Why is that? Because our R&D has not yet developed. In fact, our spending on R&D is still very insignificant, less than 1% of GDP, and dominated only by the government expenditures. It's very small, the contribution of the private sector. So, even though our population is only 1/5 of India, it's still 260 million population. And it will be, I think, a very interesting, very attractive market for anybody who provides the frontier technology. So Indonesia is in the threat to become just the market of the frontier technology. So this is the reason now we are trying to get into the planning for accommodating this frontier technology. At least we need to find out how to replace or how to find the substitute of the jobs that could be replaced by the frontier technology. And secondly, how can we increase our capacity, both at R&D side, also at the labor skills. That's the reason why now government of Indonesia trying to put more emphasis and more budget for vocational training, because I believe people with more skills or labor with more skills will survive during this advancement of the frontier of technology. However, I think some speakers already mentioned the paradox of digital technology. Although the trend is that everything will be replaced by the machine, especially the human jobs will be replaced by the machine, But there are some parts of the jobs that still need so-called human touch. Customers in general like to speak or deal with the real human being who they trust, knows what they are talking or dealing about. Of course, the robot can, tell everything because they already have the inputs of all the information, but sometimes the trust is not there. We know it's a robot, they have full information, accurate information, but still the human touch is very important. And then, when the service queries are complex, personalized, and unique, customers prefer to deal with a live human to go through the issue in detail and more humanized. For example, if you need psychological counseling, I don't think you want to deal with robots to be your psychologist. You prefer a real human being, a real psychologist to be your counselor, rather than dealing with robots, although maybe this robot has been created maybe with the highest advancement in psychology, maybe more at PhD level, maybe equivalent to the best psychology professor in the world, but still, human touch is needed. And then, there is a demand of irreplaceable jobs with digital solution, like barista, the one that makes the coffee, chef, creative arts, illustrators, daycare, nurse aides. I mean, when you are getting older and when you are already retired and you want to, let's say, your children do not have time to take care of you, then you need to have caregiver. Well, you have two options. You want to have real human caregiver, or you want to have a robot as your caregiver. I think you will pick the first one. You prefer the human caregiver. So some jobs cannot be replaceable simply by the robot. And then, of course, in some cases, the need of more personalized and humanized jobs will create the new jobs itself. So frontier technology still has the room to create the jobs. So let me summarize one of the study done by David Deming in 2015. I hope you can see clearly the quadrant. So the vertical one is about social skills. I mean, the higher part will be higher social skills, the lower part, lower social skills. So the jobs with higher social skills, the job with the lower social skills. And then the horizontal one will be math skills. To the left, less math skill, to the right, higher math skills. And then if you look the colors, hopefully the color is quite clear for you. The red one, actually the type of jobs that will be falling. I mean, the jobs that will be losing because of the frontier technology. The orange one is the type of the types of jobs that will be growing, even in the midst of the frontier technology. And the gray one is about the same. I mean, with or without frontier technology, this kind of job will not be too much affected. Of course, this is a study. There could be some kind of subjective perspective in this matter. But let me make the summary of this graph. Everything that needs higher social skills will basically survive or even growing. Okay, I mean, if you look, the one higher than the horizontal line, everything is either orange or gray. So they will survive and even growing. So the type of jobs like vocational counselors, management analysis, even computer scientists, accountants, health technician, financial manager, childcare workers, nurse aides, and police. Those are the top of jobs that will be surviving or even growing. But then, the ones that lower than the horizontal line is the jobs with the lower social skills. This is the jobs that endangers because they might lose the jobs. the type of jobs like machine operators, auto mechanics, truck drivers, accounting clerks, carpenters. They are the type of jobs that will be losing. So we need to deal with this. At least in my portfolio as Minister of Development Planning, I need to find a strategy from now how I can make sure the demographic bonus in Indonesia will survive with the existence of frontier technology. And the answer is how to improve the skill, how to improve the quality of education. Those kind of jobs that will be surviving. And then, of course, social skills now becomes very important to survive. And of course, I would like also to give you one example of an Indonesian startup, Indonesian companies that could be included in the frontier technology. Yes. Yeah. Frontier technology, but at the end, they can survive and now becomes unicorn. In Indonesia, we have not only vehicle taxi, but also motorcycle taxi. It used to be very informal. You can grab the informal taxi everywhere on the road. They are not organized, they are informal. But now, one company, startup, creating the apps for this kind of informal, motorcycle taxi. And now they become organized, and they become a unicorn. Every driver now becomes part of the formal sector. They have insurance, they have job security, they have fringe benefits, and create more jobs because the demand for this type of services is becoming very high. And they are not now only driving people or giving ride to the people. They can do the delivery. They can do food delivery. They can do even grocery delivery to your house. So this startup creates jobs. So it means we don't have to worry too much about the job that will be lost because of the frontier technology. Now, of course, we have national priority activity, innovation strengthening, and frontier technology. And then we are focusing now on how to increase the productivity, while at the same time we are trying to create the so-called triple helix, the collaboration between the university, the industry, as well as the government. We want to make sure innovation is there, because we believe innovation is the answer, for a country to deal with the frontier technology. And then we are going to focus to accommodate this Industrial Revolution 4.0 with 5 sectors of manufacturing: food and beverage, textile and apparel, automotive, electronics, and chemical. This will be the 5 kind of our focus to make Indonesia being part of Industrial Revolution 4.0. Why these 5 sectors of manufacturing? Because these 5 sectors account of 60% of GDP in manufacturing, 65% of export in manufacturing, and 60% of manufacturing workers. And this is just how we are going to make sure these 5 sectors will be part of the Industrial Revolution 4.0. For the automotive, for example, Indonesia would like to focus on electric vehicle. I think electric vehicle will be the car for the future. And we need to be part of electric vehicle even now. Although, if you drive in Jakarta, for example, it's still hard to see any electric vehicle. But it will come as the future, as the car of the future. And last but not least, what we can expect from this kind of forum. I think the example explained by Mr. Gupta in India, I think it's a very good example. I remember I attended the same session in the World Bank about how India can identify their huge population. And I think it's very important for any developing country. So knowledge sharing, I think, is important among the developing countries, as well as addressing cross-border aspect of data information, widening international access to technologies such as broadband, and more importantly, in my previous position as finance minister, we had, I think, difficult time to tax this kind of digital economy. I mean, Google, YouTube, and everything, they have, I mean, anybody in Indonesia can access Google and YouTube with all the Indonesian advertising, but I have never seen whether they will pay the tax on the advertising and whether they have even the existence in Indonesia in terms of the office or the corporate. So something has to be done. Before the frontier technology becomes much more advanced, from now, we need to settle in terms of on the taxation. And I think if we focus on taxation, at least it will give fairness to the consuming countries, especially the developing countries. I think that will be my contribution to the issue of frontier technology in developing countries. And thank you very much once again for the invitation from ESCAP.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for that comprehensive presentation. I now would like to invite to the podium Ms. Duo Liu, President of the China Academy of Information and Communications Technology, to deliver her remarks.
好，谢谢主席女士。那么，尊敬的执秘女士，尊敬的各位代表、女士们、先生们，大家上午好。那我也是非常高兴哈，今天能有这样一个机会来参加前沿技术创新的这样一个对话。那么和前面几位演讲嘉宾不同的是，我来自于一个科研机构。那我们中国信息通信研究院呢，主要是负责制定一些国家的一些相关的一些新技术的创新政策，和同时也是作为一些产业创新发展的这样一个平台。所以今天呢，也是非常高兴哈，有这个机会和大家分享一下中国在 ICT 领域的一些相关的一些创新的一些实践，也希望能够跟大家共同探讨整个这样一些前沿的技术，能够给我们整个亚太国家哈这些带来的一些相关的一些机遇。那么首先第一个方面的话，我们认为 ICT 技术创新对经济社会发展的意义是非常重大的。那么 ICT 是全球新一轮科技革命和产业变革的这样一些核心的驱动力量，以移动互联网、云计算、大数据、物联网、人工智能等为代表的新一代信息通信技术，在驱动实体经济增长、提高劳动生产率、培育新的增长点当中发挥着日益重要的作用，是推动经济高质量发展、实现可持续发展目标的这样一个重要力量。信息通信技术对经济社会具有基础支撑、创新驱动和融合引领的作用。那我们认为主要表现在3个方面。第一个方面就是大连接构筑新的基础。信息通信网络正在加速向万物互联、泛在感知、空间一体的智能化综合信息基础设施演进升级。同时，基于云计算、大数据、物联网等 ICT 技术，使得电网、公路、道路、港口等基础设施也正在加快向数字化、智能化转型，成为发展数字经济的新的基础设施。第二个方面就是大数据形成新的要素，除劳动力、土地、资本和自然资源要素之外，数据已经成为最有价值、最有潜力的要素资源。中国数据的总量年均增长50%，基于大数据的应用创新，在电子商务、移动支付、共享经济等领域催生了一批新的模式、新的业态。第3个方面就是大融合，打造新的动力。ICT 与实体经济在更广的范围、更高层次、更高水平深度融合，通过数字化丰富要素的供给，赋能高质量发展；通过网络化扩大组织的边界，提高要素的配置效率； 通过智能化提升产出的效能，增强内生的增长动力。那么，中国政府也是高度的重视 ICT 创新的发展。中国经济已经由高速增长的阶段转向高质量发展阶段。中国政府也是高度的重视 ICT 技术在经济社会发展的引领作用。ICT 技术正加速中国实体经济的质量变革、效率变革和动力变革。近年来，中国政府相继制定出台了“互联网+行动”、国家信息化发展战略纲要、大数据、云计算、物联网等发展行动纲要等政策。那我们中国信息通信研究院也是作为中国的智库，应该说我们是在近几年应该是几乎支撑了所有国家 ICT 有关的重大战略的这样一个出台。那么近期中国也是召开了首届数字中国的峰会，都旨在推动互联网、大数据、人工智能和实体经济的深度融合，加快建设现代化经济体系，让人民群众在信息化发展当中有更多的获得感、幸福感、安全感。第二的话，希望能够通过今天这样一个机会，和大家分享一下中国在 ICT 的一些相关的一些实践。近年来，中国政府在宽带网络建设、ICT 技术创新、互联网融合应用等方面发展取得积极的成效，为建设数字中国、智慧社会奠定了良好的基础。首先，第一个方面就是网络能力持续的增强。固定宽带网络加速向光纤演进升级，全面建成光网城市，光纤宽带用户达2.9亿，渗透率超过84%。4G 网络覆盖所有的城市和主要的乡镇，用户达10亿，渗透率达70%，形成全球规模最大的信息通信市场。网络速率也在不断的提升，固定宽带和4G 网络平均下载速率分别达到20兆和19兆。那么这个速率的话是体验速率，不是用户的签约速率。第二个方面是融合应用蓬勃兴起 ，ICT 技术在经济社会各领域深度的融合渗透，即时通信、电子商务、移动支付、共享经济等领域，一大批创新型企业迅速兴起，遍布商务、金融、文化娱乐、交通、医疗等众多领域。2017年，中国网络零售额达7.2万亿元人民币，移动支付交易规模约200万亿元人民币。传统制造业加速向数字化、网络化、智能化升级。家电、机械等领域涌现出一批工业互联网平台。据我们中国信息通信研究院测算，中国2017年数字经济规模达27.2万亿人民币，占 GDP 的比重为32.9%。第三个方面就是普惠民生成效显著。中国政府持续地推进网络提速降费的工作，采取了流量不清零、提速不提价等举措，惠及全民。用户资费不断下降，近3年来，固定宽带单价平均下降90%，移动流量单价平均下降83.5%，电信普遍服务稳步推进。2015年以来，实现13万个行政村通宽带或网络升级，其中包括4.3万个贫困村。截至2017年底，中国行政村通宽带比例超过98%，贫困村宽带覆盖率达到86%，促进了互联网在偏远贫困地区的应用普及，有效地助力精准扶贫。为推动 ICT 创新发展，我们在一些 ICT 的重点领域加大推进力度。那么下面我也想重点介绍2个方面，一个是5G。 5G 是新一代移动通信技术的演进发展方向，全球5G 正处于标准制定和产品研发的关键阶段，商用进程加快。中国5G 是5G 概念、标准、产业应用的积极参与者。在标准方面，积极地推动形成全球的统一标准，牵头标准化项目占40%。中国提出的一些新兴的技术已纳入国际标准。在研发试验方面，中国率先启动5G 技术研发试验。那目前我们中国信息通信研究院也是作为中国5G 推进组的组长单位，目前已经完成了前2阶段的这个试验，目前正在进行第3阶段的系统验证的这样一个试验阶段，推动系统设备达到预商用的水平。在融合应用方面，中国成立了 CV2X 工作组和5G 的应用工作组，对车联网、工业互联网等应用进行探索，积极地构建融合产业生态。下一步，中国将统筹标准、试验、商用等各项工作，积极地推动5G 尽早地实现商用。第2个方面是工业互联网。工业互联网，刚才几位嘉宾提到了工业4.0、工业互联网等等。那么中国也正在加快整个工业互联网的发展。那我们认为，工业互联网是新一代 ICT 技术与制造业深度融合的产物，既是人机物全面互联的新型网络基础设施，又是智能化发展的新兴业态和应用模式。中国工业互联网起步较早，发展较快。网络、平台、安全3大体系建设不断拓展，工厂内外网络改造升级逐步推进，一批紧跟全球技术潮流、服务中国转型需要的工业互联网平台开始规模化商用，形成超过30个工业互联网平台，融合应用模式加速普及，安全保障能力不断提升。产业生态不断完善，工业互联网产业联盟短短2年的时间，从143家会员，目前已经发展为630家会员。那么刚才是分享一些中国的一些ICT 技术的创新实践。那么第3个方面是我们充分的发挥 ICT 的创新作用，推动经济社会可持续发展。加快 ICT 技术与实体经济的融合创新，是推动经济社会可持续发展的重要举措。未来 ICT 产业发展机遇良好，前景广阔。那么在这里也是想和大家一起分享我对 ICT 技术创新的4个方面的思考。一是坚持创新发展，加快信息通信技术的演进升级。创新是人类社会进步和发展的根本动力。信息通信技术领域的变革和数字经济的发展，正是人类通过创新不断自我超越的结果。信息通信技术的体系化创新和产业的生态化演进，已成为前沿技术创新的主流趋势。当前，世界各国都面临产业转型升级、技术创新突破、信息基础设施完善优化等重要任务，应加强和深化 ICT 技术的研发、生产制造和推广应用等领域的交流合作，重点加大5G、人工智能、工业互联网等关键共性技术的创新力度，提高数字化转型中关键环节的技术供给能力。2是坚持协调发展，努力地缩小数字鸿沟。电信普遍服务是缩小城乡、区域数字鸿沟，助力打赢脱贫攻坚战的重要手段。各国都需要加快网络接入服务的普及，降低企业和消费者的使用成本，为全社会提供用得上、用得起、用得好的信息服务，助力全社会更好地把握新技术带来的发展机遇。今年，中国将继续深入开展普遍服务试点工作，完善普遍服务的长效机制，重点的推进行政村和偏远地区的4G覆盖， 推动农村电子商务、远程教育、远程医疗等宽带网络应用普及，开展数字技术的提升行动，推动信息无障碍发展，让全民共享互联网的发展成果。3是坚持融合发展，打造数字经济的新生态，充分利用 ICT 技术改造提升传统产业管理效率、生产效能和产品性能，优化公共服务资源配置和服务的水平，提高供给结构对需求升级的适应性，是实现经济社会转型发展的有效途径。以 ICT 技术推动传统制造业数字化转型，构建基于大数据与云平台的产业生态体系，培育发展网络工厂、个性化定制等新技术新模式，推动生产过程的全要素数字化，供需对接高效精准化。以 ICT 技术推动服务业数字化转型，推广 ICT 技术在城市的公共服务、政务管理、社会民生、商业活动等的应用，提高欠发达地区的远程医疗、在线教育等数字化服务水平，推动电子商务、智慧物流等现代服务向偏远地区拓展。4是坚持开放发展，推动亚太地区共享发展成果，打通亚太地区信息高速公路，持续地推进“一带一路”沿线国家信息基础设施互联互通，顺应 ICT 的发展潮流，通过政府机构对接、专家交流访问、联合开展案例研究等方式，加强政策沟通协调，加强创新资源共享与合作，推进重大合作项目，建立人员互访、信息互通、业务交流等合作机制，深化互利合作的格局，实现亚太地区的共同繁荣发展。女士们、先生们，尽管我们的国情不同、发展阶段不同，但通过 ICT 促进经济发展与社会进步，实现可持续发展目标，是我们各国的共同选择。我们在这里也是希望同亚太国家一起，在网络设施建设、ICT 产业发展、融合应用创新等方面，能够多进行交流互鉴，共同的来推动亚太地区的繁荣发展。上面就是我与大家分享的内容，谢谢大家。
Thank you, Ms. Liu, for your presentation. I would now like to invite to the podium Mr. Christopher Tremewan, Secretary General of the Association of Pacific Rim Universities, to deliver his address.
Madam Chair, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to thank Under-Secretary General Shamshad Akhtar, Executive Secretary of ESCAP, and Dr. Mia Mikic, Director of the Trade, Investment and Innovation Division of ESCAP, and other colleagues for the privilege of addressing this session. I further wish to congratulate ESCAP on its recent reports on the themes under discussion, which has provided a valuable resource to many policymakers in this region. My intervention on the issues of frontier technological innovations and policies to accelerate the SDGs implementation is in 3 parts. First, a brief statement to inform you what APRU is, very brief. Secondly, some examples of our work on advanced technologies in order to inform today's debate. And finally, I will propose some policy principles for universities, governments, business across the sectors. And I will emphasize our willingness and our strategy of partnership with others to achieve these objectives. None of us can do it alone or in our own sector. So this is in order to achieve the objective of cooperation on new technologies with to produce shared prosperity and address inequality. So first, the Association of Pacific Rim Universities, founded in 1997 by 4 university presidents, Caltech, UCLA, Berkeley, and USC in California, to bring together the presidents of the leading research universities on the Pacific Rim. We now have 50 members, they are up there, from 17 Apec economies. And the International Secretariat is located in Hong Kong, as you can see. Now, according to research metrics, the network's research output in quantity is greater than all countries except the US and China, and greater in quality than all countries except the US. This is another way of saying that our members collectively have a significant proportion of the research, education, and innovation capacity of the APEC economies, and therefore have a particular responsibility to ensure our scientific and technological discoveries bring benefits to the societies of this region. We see our mission as bringing together thought leaders, researchers, and policymakers to exchange ideas on effective solutions to the challenges of the 21st century. We know that the challenges are too complex to solve alone, and that acting together with partners in business, government, and communities, there is no limit really to what we could accomplish if we do this. Our strategic priorities are to shape higher education and research, to create Asia-Pacific global leaders, to partner on solutions to major challenges, and to have international policy impact through leveraging our research and education capabilities into the public policy arena. So that's the brief first part of my speech, and the second is on APRU's work on advanced technologies, and just one or two examples. I share these examples of our work related to today's topic in the hope that they may resonate with you, as some of the previous speakers have done, and provide a basis for future collaboration. So on this slide, I want to speak only to the first two. And that is, the first is AI for everyone, benefiting from and building trust in technology is the project that we've undertaken. The overall concept of this project is to create an open and accessible approach to AI that can be understood by people regardless of their geographic, generational, economic, cultural, or other social background, in order to form a trusting linkage between human beings and these new technologies. The objectives are to access the benefits of AI, build awareness of the nature of the technology, and, most importantly, develop responsible governance of the technology and its development. And this project engages academics from 12 diverse contexts and disciplines in Australia, Chile, China, Hong Kong, Japan, Mexico, Russia, Singapore, and the US. It is led by 2 senior professors from Japan and Australia. The 12 policy research papers which will initially come out cover a wide range of issues, many of them mentioned in ESCAP papers as priority areas for policy development, and we expect to publish them by the end of this year for general dissemination. The second project there is the transformation of work, already mentioned several times this morning, the transformation of work in the Asia-Pacific in the 21st century. This project is chaired by the Dean of the Business School at HKUST and engages academics from member universities and international institutions in Australia, China, Hong Kong, Japan, Korea, the Philippines, and Singapore. These research papers will analyze how the digital future will transform the future of work, address the economic risks and fears, fill gaps in existing research, and develop new thought with the aim of empowering policymakers, civil society, and other scholars to develop better solutions to the challenges of advanced technologies. And as you can see from the logo, both of these projects are being undertaken in partnership with Google. And right now, this week, in Korea University in Seoul, a third initiative is being launched, Technology and the Aging Workforce, in order to clarify the emerging research agenda in this area. APRU has a long-standing program on population aging, and this also intersects with our work on labour mobility. We are contributing to APEC's work on population aging issues, in particular the APEC framework on human resources development in the digital age. In March, we contributed to the APEC senior officials meeting a high-level policy dialogue on the digital economy in Port Moresby, with the title Building on the APEC Internet and Digital Economy Roadmap. Last November, at the APEC CEO Summit and Leaders Meeting in Da Nang, Vietnam, APRU organized the APEC University Leaders Forum on the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Composed of business leaders, senior officials, and university leaders, this forum, excuse me. This forum produced a commitment that APRU will work with APEC on a public policy strategy and toolkit to bridge the skills gap in data science and analytics in the APEC economies. APRU has other projects that address the issue of the potential benefits and threats of new technologies on sustainable cities, global health, natural hazards, and climate change, on women in leadership, on sustaining the Pacific Ocean, and I invite you to view our website for information on these initiatives. Now I want to move to excuse me, policy principles. In the 21st century, there is much to hope for from the promise of rapid technological developments, many well underway. Water conservation, hydroponics farming, solar energy, fusion research, stem cell and other biomedical advances, nanotechnology, climate change cities, huge increases in computing capability, increased life expectancy, the ability to modify human beings, recognition of the compounding importance of the humanities and ethics, and the potential use of high technology for avoiding rather than prosecuting war. At the same time, many expect these technological shifts to occur amidst a century of social collapse or chaos, that there will be differential impacts with clear winners and losers, especially with respect to climate change and the ability of societies to absorb massive shocks as vast areas become uninhabitable dead zones. And there are large-scale population movements and giga-famines alongside eco-affluence. This pattern, as you know, is already emerging. This new reality of a threat to the survival of the planet and of our species requires us to imagine new ways of working together at scale, across sectors and borders, rather than being satisfied with an incremental approach. In considering the potential benefits and threats of new technologies in relation to society at large, and to the sustainable goals, development goals in particular, it is right to consider the specific capabilities of the new technologies. For example, in terms of the need for an urgent public policy response, the international prohibition of lethal autonomous weapons must be at the top of the list. They are already under development. The regulatory regime for their control is not yet in place. Their production is likely to be highly profitable for major corporations, and their use by both state and non-state actors will be extremely difficult to control after they are produced. However, a broader policy response is required beyond an assessment of each technology as it is developed. For example, our objective must be to see that new technologies are used to enable citizens to live fulfilling lives, exercising their rights as free citizens, and enjoying a healthy natural environment, rather than being increasingly controlled and manipulated either by commercial or political actors. So there has to be international agreement and national regulation to ensure the following, and I've listed them here on the screen. That our societies are equipped educationally for changes in employment, social interaction, and to advance the role of free citizens. That the benefits of new technologies reach all those who need them, not only those that can afford them. That there is open public debate about the implications of new technologies and political accountability for their regulation. That we pursue the application of AI and related technologies in pursuit of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. That the rights to personal privacy, judicial independence, and academic autonomy are protected. That is to say, it is not a matter only of regulating technology directly, but also of strengthening participatory mechanisms and independent institutions nationally and internationally. Research universities are not marginal players in this new context. As the source of many discoveries and innovations, we confront very sharply the moral responsibilities of our research in deeply unequal societies. For this reason, we engage the social sciences and humanities in analysing the implications of scientific discoveries and technological innovations. We acknowledge the importance, as does ESCAP, of working with people on policy solutions in the diverse social contexts and economic conditions across the region. For example, last year we published with Elsevier a report, A Global Outlook on Disaster Science, which tracked the research and policy expertise in disaster science and mapped it against the areas where the burden is greatest. We will soon publish another report entitled Amplifying Impact, Transformative Solutions to Asia-Pacific Challenges, that uses both case studies and metrics to show how collaborations between science and technology disciplines and the social sciences and humanities are producing models for solutions in widely varying situations. As we seek to strengthen our collaboration across the borders of nation, sector, institution, and discipline in order to build trust for the challenges ahead, we welcome new partners from business, government, international organizations, and communities in this endeavor. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Tremewan, for sharing your work with APRU. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, we shall now continue our deliberations under Agenda Item 9 with our country statements. These statements may be delivered from your country seats. I would like to urge all speakers to help maintain the discipline of the 5-minute time allocation so that all delegations may have enough time to deliver their statements. I would like to note that in case delegations do have longer statements, that they may deliver a summary while the full text can be shared through the Commission website. Our first speaker, I would like to invite is Her Excellency Ms. Saida Muna Tasneem, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary Permanent Representative to ESCAP, Embassy of the People's Republic of Bangladesh. Madam, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me take the opportunity, since this is the first time I take floor in this forum, I congratulate you on your election to the chair's position. Madam Chair, last Friday on 11 May 2018, history was made for 162 million people of Bangladesh, a South Asian LDC that just entered into its graduation journey, as at NASA's Florida-based Kennedy Space Center, SpaceX, its debut rocket launcher vehicle, Falcon 9 Block 5, successfully launched into space and into a geostationary orbit, Bangladesh's first geostationary communication satellite, Bangabandhu 1, named after the father of the nation of Bangladesh, linking Bangladesh to the space-age frontier technologies. Shortly after the launch, Kennedy Center SpaceX played a recorded message from Bangladesh's Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, mentioning that the satellite would help Bangladesh further bridge its own digital divide or inequality, save $14 million annually that Bangladesh now spends every year to buy bandwidth, and also allow Bangladesh the option to share its Q-band and C-band satellite connectivity and bandwidth with other neighboring countries, with potential to bridging interregional digital divides. With this, Bangladesh became the 57th country in the world and third in South Asia to have a satellite in space that will reduce Bangladesh's dependency on foreign satellite operators and SEMV4 and SEMV5 submarine highways for high-speed internet. It provides the benefits of frontier tech and ICT to an entire generation of service providers, starting from our weather department in forecasting any climate and natural disasters, strengthen our national security and defense mechanism against threats of terrorism, not only on our own soil, but also those of our neighboring countries, boost telecommunication, telemedicine, agriculture, soil, environmental and e-learning applications, and many more e-benefits to our people. And most importantly, it will ensure uninterrupted and reliable high-speed broadband internet to every corner of rural Bangladesh to the benefit of its common people and our aspirations to an inclusive and equitable sustainable development, leaving no person behind in access to IT. Interestingly, the Bangabandhu 1 satellite also brought along with a breakthrough in the frontier technology of rocket launching, replacing the one-time single-launch carrier that would have landed in Cape Canaveral Air Force Station, with the newly redesigned Falcon 9 Block 5 version of a historic carrier that landed on a drone ship in the Atlantic Ocean and is capable of refueling and relaunching within 24 hours with a new satellite. SpaceX CEO called it a cutting-edge frontier technological breakthrough in rocket launching technology that was associated with the launching of the Bangladesh satellite. Madam Chair, the launching story of Bangabandhu 1 satellite is yet another example of how technological breakthroughs in the use of ICT and frontier technologies can indeed help reduce inequality and accelerate the achievement of the SDGs when used for the greater good of mankind, for expedient political leadership of even LDCs and lower middle-income countries of the Asia-Pacific, such as Bangladesh. Over the past decade, Bangladesh's visionary Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has broken major stereotypes and perceptions of women in STEM and ICT, and all previous national records in a political commitment to creating a knowledge-based digital Bangladesh by 2021, and the use of ICT and innovation for attaining SDGs and inclusive societies. Just in past 9 years, Bangladesh's teledensity increased from 34% to 90%, mobile subscription to a staggering 147 million, internet penetration from 5% to 50%, and IT and software exports for 23 million to 800 million US dollars. The entire country has been digitally connected through optical fiber to the district in Upuzila's lowest tier of government, ensuring high-speed internet connectivity to every village through the Info Shortcut 3 project. A dense network of information superhighways combined with the increased capacity offering by our communication satellite have truly opened up new horizons for our people in every single village across the entire country. Bangladesh has integrated the SDGs and its Digital Bangladesh vision into Bangladesh's 7th five-year plan and is strongly pursuing a comprehensive plan to transform its public service delivery mechanisms through ICT as a transformative driver of progress and prosperity. The country has set up dozens of telemedicine centers, digital health record system, mobile applications for different healthcare, taxation, e-commerce, and transportation services. Madam Chair, as we continually strive to keep up with the challenges posed by the fourth industrial revolution, digital innovation convergence with artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, and environmental and geospatial sciences, large numbers of labor employed in labor-intensive industry in Bangladesh, including RMG and in pharmaceuticals, undergoing ERP, automation, and Six Sigma upgrades, are threatened with major layoff of human resources. This remains a source of key concern for a densely populated country such as Bangladesh. And yet the government is relentlessly taking initiatives to promote the adoption of cutting-edge technologies, including adoption of fintech in the banking and financial services for increased export competitiveness in global markets, mobile banking, and inclusive digital financing. Currently, the whole of government has been working on embedding ICT in all infrastructures for the deployment of eco-efficient and smart automated electricity grids, water management systems, traffic management systems towards achieving smart cities and inclusive communities. An Innovation, Design and Entrepreneurship Academy has been established with a goal of creating a resilient innovation and entrepreneurial ecosystem in Bangladesh. The government is working towards the development of a national enterprise architecture towards improving interoperability of e-governance activities. On the flip side, Bangladesh also continues to combat the challenges of disruptive technologies in its governance space. After being the repeated victim of cybercrime attacks, the government was also compelled to formulating an act named Digital Security Law 2018 for ensuring digital security, identifying and preventing digital crime, and establishing justice to strengthen our ICT systems. While Bangladesh invites FDI from high-tech countries to invest in our 28 high-tech parks, software parks, and IT villages to enhance our capacity to leverage ICT and frontier techs to accelerate our SDG implementation, and our eventual graduation out of LDC status, we firmly believe in promoting regional connectivity, regional ICT connectivity, and the implementation of the Asia-Pacific Information Superhighway Initiative through regional cooperation, spearheaded here at the UN ESCAP. Emanating from our conviction on a digitally connected Asia and the Pacific, Bangladesh tabled at the 73rd session the first resolution on implementation of the Asia-Pacific Information Superhighway Initiative through regional cooperation and hosted the first session of the API Steering Committee in Dhaka in November 27. As the current chair of the API Steering Committee, I would like to conclude by calling upon all ESCAP member countries to continue to closely collaborate on the implementation of the API's initiative and for building seamless terrestrial connectivity across Asia and the Pacific for increased use of frontier technologies, for reducing the digital divide and accelerating implementation of the SDGs. I thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your statement. The next speaker on the list is His Excellency, Mr. Sergei Manasaryan, Ambassador to China and Thailand of Armenia. Sir, you have the floor.
Thank you. Madam Chairman, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, let me start by expressing my sincere gratitude to the Thai government and the UN ESCAP for organizing and hosting this event and wish us all efficient and productive work. I have the honor and the privilege to reiterate that Armenia deemed the cooperation with UN ESCAP is one of very important directions within the framework of regional cooperation. The government of the Republic of Armenia attached special attention to the regional multilateral cooperation and implementation of the main objectives of the Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development. We believe that achieving those goals is not possible without pursuing inclusive development models and combating inequalities. On the other hand, given its multidimensionality, inequality between countries and societies can only be comprehensively tackled by advancing sustainable development overall. This process requires building the resilience of societies, communities, and strengthening the mutually beneficial cooperation between the states and the regions. Situated in the crossroads of different continents, Armenia has always bridged various civilizations, that becoming a very important center for the cultural and trading exchanges. Modern Armenia adherent to strategy designed to build bridges among its major trading, economic, and political partners. Being a landlocked country with limited energy resources under the close border with two neighboring states, we are never bent to difficulties. On the contrary, those factors became a locomotive to move forward with the creative ideas of our people. Thanks to a highly skilled labor force and human capital, today Armenia has become an innovative country which offers high technology solutions. Efforts aimed at the development of information and telecommunication technologies today yield results. In recent years, Armenia has been registering 20-25% growth in this area, while its share in the GDP is close to 4%. To promote the development of information and communication technologies field in Armenia, the government provides tax privileges to the IT startups, exempting them from profit tax. The current policy of the Armenian government is aimed at bypassing the obstacles and limitations and increasing countries' limited internal market through regional and international cooperation. Today, our geographic location and political and economic arrangement with partner nations enable Armenians easy access and trade with markets of more than 300 million consumers, where many Armenian goods and services have already established brand value. As a member of the Eurasian Economic Union, we have custom-free access to more than 180 million consumers. A common borders and visa-free region with the Islamic Republic of Iran open up a market of 80 million consumers. Historically friendly relations with Georgia give us access to the Black Sea ports as well as safeguard Armenia's trade turnover with Russian Federation, other EU countries and the European Union. The forthcoming opening of the major infrastructure projects such as North-South Highway Corridor will make Armenia the shortest transit route connecting Persian Gulf to the Black Sea ports. Due to the development of productive cooperation in different directions, Armenia may serve as a bridge between EU and other economic blocs, the European Union, countries associated with it, also with Iran and countries of Near East. In order to facilitate the new stage of fundamental reforms initiated by the government, Center for Strategic Initiatives was recently established. The main objective of the center is to support the efforts aimed at making Armenia a country where a citizen is independent, secure, and intellectual, a country where the business environment for an investor is easy to understand and transparent. The final goal of the process is to attach long-term and sustainable foreign investments into the country and increase the exports of Armenia products. We most certainly are committed to further enhancing the business climate of the country. Our utmost priority in the introduction of the digital governance to provide for the services in line with the requirements of our people and business cycles appropriate for the 24th century. A lot more is envisaged to make business environment in Armenia highly efficient, especially with significantly improved customs, tax, and tax services. Recently, Armenia's parliament adopted a new tax code that provides for a number of benefits to business and investors in Armenia. We have simplified the procedures followed by our tax administration bodies that make the tax monitoring processes much more business-friendly. Madam Chair, Agenda 2030 reconfirmed that unilateral economic measures are detrimental to sustainable development. The agenda includes a goal aimed to reduce inequalities of all kinds within and between countries, which will directly contribute to the enhancement of productive cooperation and regional development. We believe that strong contact and open borders, a free movement of goods and services, as well as equal, inclusive and non-discriminatory regional cooperation are the main prerequisites for the development of the economic connectivity and addressing inequality. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Excellency. Our next speaker is Mr. Li Hong, Permanent Representative of China to ESCAP. Sir, you have the floor.
谢谢主席女士。主席女士，前沿技术快速发展，正深刻改变着人类社会的生产和生活方式，给社会形态、经济形态、城市形态等带来深刻变革。本次 ESCAP 年会就前沿技术相关问题进行深入探讨，有利于亚太国家更好地凝聚共识，协调政策，强化科技创新战略的广泛实施，以应对不平等问题 以及落实2030可持续发展议程。主席女士，中国政府高度重视前沿科技的作用和影响，制定了国家创新发展驱动战略，大力推进大众创业、万众创新。过去5年，中国创新发展成果显著，互联网经济、数字经济等新兴产业蓬勃发展，社会发展活力和创新活力明显增强。中国通过全面创新改革试验，积极探索并行发挥市场和政府作用的有效机制，探索促进科技与经济深度融合的有效途径，探索激发创新者动力与活力的有效举措，形成了一套具有中国特色的政策实践。中方积极支持 ESCAP 开展创新领域的合作，愿与日内成员分享经验和教训。去年 ESCAP 在中国的合肥市召开了亚太科技园区最佳实践论坛，20多个国家的政府官员、企业代表出席。与会各方还实地考察了当地的科技园区运作以及政府服务窗口等，这对本地区成员发展前沿科技、开展创新能力建设是一次非常有益的尝试。不久前，阿哈特尔殖民女士对中国最具活力的城市深圳市进行了非正式访问，与深圳市政府官员就发展前沿科技等问题进行了广泛交流，并参观了一批高新技术企业和研发基地，为深化中国与 ESCAP 在科技领域的合作进行了有益探索。我们期待与 ESCAP 各方进一步开展更多这方面的务实合作。主席女士， ESCAP 第72届年会通过了一项加强科技创新、促进亚太可持续发展的决议，其中特别提及适时召开亚太科技创新论坛。我们希望秘书处更加积极推进该决议的实施，期待首届亚太科技创新论坛早日召开。中方愿在 ESCAP 框架下加强与各国的经验知识分享，让前沿科技更好地服务于更高质量、更包容、更平等、更可持续的发展与繁荣。谢谢女士，谢谢主席女士。
Thank you. Our next speaker is Mr. Azrul Alunad, Director, the Department of Planning, Department of Economic Planning and Development of Brunei Darussalam. Sir, you have the floor.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you, Madam Chair, for giving us the opportunity to deliver our statement on inequality in this session today. In the interest of time, I will be delivering a summarized statement, and the full version will be circulated. Madam Chair, Excellencies, Madam Executive Secretary, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Brunei Darussalam delegation, I would like to take this opportunity to express our sincere appreciation to ESCAP and the Royal Thai government for the hospitality extended to us during the 74th session of the Commission. I would also like to join others yesterday in sharing our condolences to the people of Indonesia on the recent terrorist attack. The theme Inequality in the Era of the 2035 Agenda on Sustainable Development, which highlights the importance of reducing inequality of both income and opportunity, is timely and relevant. There is unanimous agreement that economic growth by itself is not sufficient to reduce poverty if the growth is not inclusive and does not involve the three dimensions of sustainable development, namely economic, social, and environmental. With regards to the social aspect of development, policies should be inclusive, with an extra emphasis on the disadvantaged and marginalized. For Brunei Darussalam, efforts to address inequality are spearheaded by various ministries, such as Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sports, Ministry of Health, and Ministry of Education. Noting that policies should be inclusive in principle, Brunei Darussalam has taken heed of this call by taking proactive measures, especially in areas of its citizens' well-being, health, and education. Global income inequality is on the rise, that the richest 10% earns up to 40% of the total global income. This rising inequality compels for national policies to empower the lowest income earners, as well as to promote the economic inclusion of all levels of society. In addressing income inequality, Brunei's National Council of Social Issues continues to ensure that the existing Special Committee on Poverty Issues coordinate with relevant government and non-government agencies in the implementation of efforts towards eradicating poverty through an integrated action plan on poverty issues. Poverty management initiative includes assistance, both financial and non-financial, to low-income families provided by various ministries and agencies. In providing social protection for the elderly and disabled, the Old Age and Disability Pension Act provides for payment by way of all-age pensions, citizens and residents upon reaching 60 years old, and as well as monthly allowances for persons aged 15 and above with disability. To provide additional protection for the disadvantaged, with effect of January 2018, Brunei extended the eligibility of recipients for the disability allowances to include children with disability aged below 15 years. We are all aware that inequality does not simply apply only to income. Inequality occurs in many ways, one of which is health. 99% of maternal death occurs in developing countries, which primarily reflects inequality in healthcare access. Further, there exist large disparities between countries and as well as within countries. Health policy should ensure accessibility to health care for all, so that good health is not just privileged to the wealthy. In line with Goal 3, universal health coverage continues to be a cornerstone of Brunei Darussalam's health policies. This is in line with the strong recognition that healthcare as one of the major public investment in human development, and that by generating healthy and productive citizens, they will in turn contribute to the dynamic and sustainable socio-economic development, as well as peace and social security of a country. Over the last decade, health in Brunei Darussalam has improved significantly through numerous initiatives, which includes the elimination of communicable diseases, increase in number of local doctors, specialists, and other health professionals, as well as the development of one-stop health center that provides integrated healthcare service under one roof. To ensure equality of opportunity, so that access to education is not determined by their social economic background, education policy should provide for universal access to learning. In confirming this commitment to inequality of opportunity, Brunei Darussalam has always prioritized universal access to education for all. All children are provided free and compulsory basic education for the 12 years, from preschool up to secondary school, or vocational and technical education. In providing inclusive quality education for all, the special education policy provides the framework for the development of the education system, which serves the needs of all children, including those with diverse learning needs. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, recognizing the 2030 agenda requires multilateral approaches, both at the regional and global scale, to address inequalities. We believe that ESCAP continues to play an important role for the inequality in the era of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, through its greater emphasis in promoting higher, well-balanced, sustainable growth in the region to help eradicate poverty and generate employment opportunities. To end our statement, Brunei Darussalam joins the global community in addressing rising inequality in income, access, and opportunity. Therefore, we encourage and support the Commission's continuous hard work in sustainable development. Finally, we commend the Commission's ongoing endeavors in this important development agenda to ensure no one gets left behind. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Ahmad. Our next speaker is Ms. Irina Burova, the Attaché Assistant Permanent Representative to ESCAP, Embassy of the Russian Federation in Bangkok. Madam, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, and good morning to all the participants. I'll now switch to my native language. Госпожа председатель, развитие прорывных технологий рассматривается Российской Федерацией в качестве важнейшего инструмента перехода к устойчивому развитию. В целях активного подключения страны к глобальному технологическому прогрессу российским правительством принят ряд соответствующих мер, предполагающих полноценное задействование имеющегося у нас потенциала. Разработана госпрограмма «Национальная технологическая инициатива» по поддержке развития в стране цифровой экономики, инновационных отраслей экономики. В феврале 2017 года правительством утверждена первая дорожная карта по ее развитию. На первых этапах она будет охватывать не менее 8 отраслей экономики, в том числе энергетику, авиа и судостроение. Еще один шаг по переходу российской экономики к инновационному развитию – создание ассоциации содействия развитию промышленного интернета по инициативе Ростелекома, крупнейшего российского провайдера цифровых услуг, и Роскосмоса, госкорпорации по космической деятельности. Ассоциация призвана содействовать вовлечению России в мировую цифровую революцию. Ее функция – предоставить площадку всем участникам промышленного интернета для кооперации и взаимодействия. Несомненно, фундаментальной частью архитектуры инновационного развития призвана стать цифровая экономика. В целях эффективного использования отечественного экспертного потенциала российским правительством в тесном контакте с экспертным и деловым сообществом подготовлена и утверждена в июне 2017 года программа «Цифровая экономика Российской Федерации», рассчитанная на период до 2024 года. В числе основных цифровых технологий, чье приоритетное развитие предусмотрено программой, большие данные, нейротехнологии, искусственный интеллект, квантовые технологии, компоненты робототехники, технологии беспроводной связи, виртуальной и дополненной реальности. Госпожа председатель, Российская Федерация учитывает происходящие в мире кардинальные изменения в области технологий, обусловленные прогрессом в цифровой сфере. Обеспечение развития сектора науки, технологий и инноваций в соответствии с мировыми тенденциями является одним из наших приоритетов. Придавая важное значение международному сотрудничеству в области НТИ, мы рассчитываем задействовать потенциал ESCAP в целях эффективного обмена знаниями и опытом по развитию передовых технологий, в особенности по тем направлениям, которые способны ускорить реализацию целей и задач устойчивого развития. Например, сотрудничество в сфере создания интеллектуальных транспортных систем, эффективного использования спутниковых систем для своевременного оказания первой помощи пострадавшим в результате ДТП, способствует выполнению целевых показателей 3.6 и 11.2 повестки дня 2030 в области устойчивого развития. Госпожа председатель, любые глобальные революционные изменения в мировом развитии подразумевают возникновение как рисков, так и возможностей. Мы уверены, что мы способны, в том числе за счет укрепления регионального сотрудничества, превратить эти риски в возможности для перехода на качественно новый уровень развития. Символично, что в этом году Российская Федерация выдвинула свою кандидатуру в новый состав из исполнительного совета, Совета управляющих Азиатско-Тихоокеанского центра по развитию информационно-коммуникационных технологий. Надеемся, что в случае нашего избрания в состав Совета управляющих мы внесем свой ценный вклад в такое сотрудничество. Благодарю за внимание.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Mr. Emil Amadov, the leading advisor, Department of International Cooperation, Ministry of Transport, Communications and High Technologies of the Republic of Azerbaijan. So you have the floor.
Madam Chairperson, Madam Executive Secretary, dear delegates. At the outset, allow me to express my sincere congratulations to you, since it was my first speech on your election as a chairperson of the 74th Commission. And I would like to express my sincere gratitude to you and ESCAP and the government and people of Thailand for hospitality and excellent arrangement of this commission. We believe that this mature organization has a good potential to respond to the emerging challenges in the region and to serve as a platform for exchange of best practice as well as generating new ideas. Madam Chairpersons, the recent report released by ESCAP demonstrates that Asia and Pacific has emerged as the world's fastest growing region over the past. On the other hand, dynamic development has been accompanied by rising inequality. Such trend has posed a significant challenge to the international community in realizing SDGs within the set timeline. We strongly believe that no nations can succeed alone without regional and international cooperation. In this regard, regional projects will narrow inequalities within the countries and, of course, between the countries. We in Azerbaijan attach great importance to promoting cooperation within countries of ESCAP region and look forward to deepening international integration within our existing partners. The government of Azerbaijan has initiated a number of big projects in the field of energy, transport, information and communication technologies, which are aimed to strengthen our existing economic ties in our regions. Among those, I can name Baku-Tbilisi-Ceyhan oil pipeline, Baku-Tbilisi-Erzurum gas pipeline, as well as a number of other infrastructure projects where Azerbaijan is active participants. I should underline that the above-mentioned projects stand as a symbol of genuine spirit of our regional cooperations. Located on the strategic crossroad of East and West, Azerbaijan is open to potential new initiative on expansion of interregional energy connectivity and bringing Central Asia to close to European energy architectures. Of course, development of non-oil sector is also a priority for government of Azerbaijan. It's the transport, ICT, agriculture and tourism sector which play an essential role in achieving the relevant goals. Being landlocked developing countries, Azerbaijan nevertheless is advancing in building interconnectivity in our region. Our vision of interconnectivity played an important role in shaping the patterns of regional transport network. Azerbaijan is a crucial enabler and strong promoter of both north, south, and east and west transport corridors. Development of these corridors cover connecting national railroad system and creating relevant infrastructure. Azerbaijan is a starting point of strategic Baku-Tbilisi Kars Railroad project, which will bring China closer to Europe. This project became operational on October 30, 2017, but at the same time, physical interconnection of railroad is not self-sufficient, and in order to render it commercially viable, we are currently working on tariff unification. Azerbaijan contributes to enhancing regional infrastructure by embarking on another remarkable project, which is construction of a new Baku International Sea Trade Port, which is the biggest one in the Caspian Sea, with capacity of handling 25 million tons annually. Development and growth in modern age, Mr. Chairperson, is directly associated with the application of ICT. Building ICT connectivity can bridge the digital divide and provide new solutions to development challenges, access to information and knowledge, as well as have immense impact on social progress. In the framework of our activity in ICT sector, we can name Trans-Eurasian Information Superhighway, now called TASIM, initiative to connect Asia and Europe and contribute to improvement and diversification of telecommunication transit route in Eurasia. Meantime, this initiative of Azerbaijan was also endorsed by United Nations General Assembly resolution, and ESCAP shows interest to this project as a potential part of Asia-Pacific Information Superhighway. We are also committed to meeting SDGs, and in order to harmonize national development policy within the 2013 Development Agenda Coordination Council on Sustainable Development, headed by the Deputy Prime Minister, was created in Azerbaijan. The working group within the Council gathered on permanent basis to review progress made and set new goals. As a result of the work already done, I can point out that voluntary national report on the implementation of these goals by Azerbaijan was submitted on July 19. We do believe, in conclusion, that the ESCAP will continue to play an active role in promoting cooperation in the region to address existing challenges and coordinating joint efforts of its members for the benefits of the region as a whole. Thank you, Madam Chairperson.
Thank you. Our next speaker is the Ambassador Fauzia Nazreen, the SDGs Advisor of the Commission on Science and Technology for Sustainable Development in the South Secretariat. Madam, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson, for giving me the floor. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, technological innovations have historically proved to be game changer in human civilization. Their impact on development process has had far-reaching implications for socio-economic and political developments. Technology has been instrumental in bringing about geopolitical and geoeconomic shifts in power configurations, dividing the world into haves and have-nots and north and south. However, the sustainability challenges to the planet, people, prosperity, and peace in the current phase of the fourth industrial revolution have changed the development paradigm. They have induced an approach that aims to ensure an inclusive development process that promotes shared prosperity through partnerships and triangular cooperation between South-South and North-South. This is an historic opportunity where fruits of knowledge and frontier technology can reduce inequalities within and among societies. The 2030 Global Development Agenda may seem ambitious, but it reflects the collective will of the people of the world in averting the threats such as climate change, growing resource depletion, food insecurity, poverty, and conflict that are posed to the survivability of life and livelihoods. The realization of the aspirations contained in the Sustainable Development Goals is inextricably linked to the commitment to their implementation, where the role of the public and private sectors and civil society is crucial. Carefully thought out policy instruments along with human and financial resources availability are the essential prerequisites. The question about the role of frontier technologies in the context of SDGs is very pertinent. The issue is how we can make new and emerging technologies inclusive, where everyone feels a part of the transformation process spurred by the rapidly evolving technologies such as digital technology and artificial intelligence. Goal 17's criticality in the realization of the 2030 Development Agenda is paramount, especially as the protectionist trends are apparently gaining ground. Open, transparent, responsible, and smart strategies are needed to take advantage of the frontier technologies. Shrewd regulatory mechanism aligned with the public policy priorities and visions would enhance the capability of the national systems to respond and adapt to the changes. I would now like to highlight some of the concerns which are related to the frontier technologies. Frontier technologies of today will become the waste generators of tomorrow. A far-sighted approach in devising policies and mechanisms to guide our sustainable development measures of today must include aspects of circular economy to provide safeguards against the technology-based waste of tomorrow. Recycling of electronic and industrial and other forms of waste is an important element of making SDGs achieve the desired results. If intergenerational equity is to be ensured, then waste management must be accorded due priority. Serious thought must go into into adequate design for recycling that is environment friendly and protects the ecosystem as a whole. The synergies of top-down and bottom approaches in developing and implementing strategies for SDGs have to be consistently and consciously nurtured in this connection. The other concern related to frontier technologies that could lead to inequality is displacement of workers, particularly the impact on migrant workers. For countries that have bulk of their unskilled and semi-skilled labor working in developed economies, the adoption of artificial intelligence, in particular robotics, could make this labor force redundant. Economies where already employment opportunities are restricted, this would cause a major setback to the Sustainable Development Goals agenda. Remedial actions and strategies for the skill upgradation to suit the changing environment are urgently needed. Moreover, domestic strategies to rehabilitate such workers in a productive manner need to be devised well in advance. Secondly, disruptions would require reorientation of strategies and policies that would make the transition less painful for the vulnerable communities. The vocational training programs will have to take this into consideration. Data, surveys, and targeted government initiatives will enable the countries to take result-oriented steps. This indeed could be a major undertaking with deep impact on societies, neutralizing conflict-prone tendencies, setting in motion a vicious cycle harming the new development agenda. And lastly, it is also important to dwell on the question of openness. How open is the world today? What we find today are parallel movements, each negating the other, such as globalization and protectionism. The use of open sources, access to knowledge in the virtual world, and technology and innovation may not benefit all because of these cross currents. Cybersecurity issues and the mistrust generated thereof could result in complex challenges, especially for inclusive development agenda. Some of these risks could be mitigated with more trust in intellectual property rights, World Trade Organization mechanisms, and the United Nations agency's efforts to mobilize the world community towards SDGs in a constructive manner. Coherent policy responses enabling those countries that are not so well prepared for the fourth industrial revolution to suitably avail the opportunities of at the domestic, regional, and global levels would be useful. Is it too idealistic? In conclusion, this is what I would like to say. Is it too idealistic to hope for a concert among major economic powers and technological giants on the emerging sustainable development paradigm? On its part, ComSets is playing the catalytic role through focused research in the form of its thematic groups and the work of the network of the Centers of Excellence. I thank you, Madam Chairperson.
Thank you. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, we have completed our list of speakers for this morning. I would like to thank Ms. Akhtar, our distinguished speakers, and all our delegates for a very thought-provoking and insightful discussion. Thank you, too, to the audience, both here and in various other cities, for your participation. As we have a little time left, we shall proceed to agenda item 10, other matters. Would any delegations wish to take the floor on any other pertinent matter that has not been covered during the course of our deliberations? No? If not, I shall now turn to the Secretary of the Commission to report on the results of the elections for the governing councils of the Asian and Pacific Training Center for Information and Communication Technology for Development and the Center for Sustainable Agriculture Mechanization. Secretary.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As previously announced, balloting for the governing councils of the Asian and Pacific Training Center for Information and Communications Technology for Development, APC-ICT, as well as the Center for Sustainable Agriculture Mechanization, CSAM, Both were conducted on Tuesday, 15 May, from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. In accordance with paragraph 8 of APC ICT statute, quote, the center shall have a governing council consisting of a representative nominated by the government of the Republic of Korea and 8 representatives of members and associate members of ESCAP elected by the Commission. 10 nominations were received for the 8 seats on the governing council. 34 votes were cast, including 1 invalid ballot. The results of the vote is as follows, with these countries elected to 3-year terms for the period 2018 to 2021. Bangladesh, Cambodia, India, Indonesia, Philippines, Russian Federation, Sri Lanka, and Thailand. In accordance with paragraph 9 of the CSAM statute, quote, the center shall have a governing council consisting of a representative designated by the government of China and 8 representatives nominated by other members and associate members of ESCAP of relevant line ministries elected by the Commission. 10 nominations were received for the 8 seats on the governing council. 36 ballots were cast, including 1 invalid ballot. The result of the vote is as follows, with these countries elected to 3-year terms for the period 2018 to 2021. Bangladesh, Cambodia, India, Malaysia, Pakistan, the Philippines, Thailand, and Vietnam. These results will be recorded in the account of proceedings for this session. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Do any delegations have comments on this matter? I see that there are none. This then concludes our deliberations on all substantive items. Before closing this meeting, I would like to remind everyone that we will reconvene at 2 p.m. sharp here in ESCAP Hall to consider agenda item 11, which is the adoption of the report. Thank you all. This meeting is adjourned.